she on live. Right now. Please pull over the whip, no phoning when you drive. Dope Soul Sporting with the talk. First lady from New York, Brooklyn. All my people, you rocking with the chat. Hit that. The like button would tell me where you at. You know, Step from the NBK. Born and raised up NBK. Hey, real lady where she holding it down. No matter way how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.
What?
Dope Soul.
What?
Your soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Salute, Nick family. Welcome to the Just Knickin' It Weekly Show. Welcome to the channel, Dope Soul Sports Talk, Dope Soul Knicks Talk. A lot to talk about today. I kind of had my fill of the Obi Toppin talk. I pretty much said what I wanted to say during the pop-up show. Then I had the show earlier with Freezy. But there's some people on the panel who may not have had that opportunity, so we'll give them that. What I really want to talk about is if this is all of the moves the Knicks are going to make this offseason, are we better? You know, are we Eastern Conference finalists, or at least what are our chances of being Eastern Conference finalists? Are we done? You know, if this is not who we are and the Knicks are going to go out and make another move, what other move is there to make that's going to make us better? We'll talk about Emmanuel Quickley. If we had to rank the players who had the most trade value, would Emmanuel Quickley be at the top? And if you had the opportunity to trade him for a wing player, would you do that? Or is he at this point reasonably untouchable? We'll talk about that today and much more. You know how we do. We'll start with one thing, and before you know it, we done talked about things that's not even we didn't plan on. So let me bring in the panel. Resident panelist Jarrell, resident panelist Jeff, Ajay, resident panelist, guest Jay Boogie, but I don't know. I might have to start calling him resident panelist as well. He's been with us every week for a while, and somebody else may pop up today. I didn't drop all of the links, so if you're someone who usually get a link and I didn't drop it, show up in the chat, say you want it, and I'll give it to you. How you doing, fellas?
Fantastic. Salute
to the chat.
All right.
Amen.
Yes, definitely salute to the chat. So like I said, I've talked about Obi Toppin being traded, the DiVincenzo signing twice already. I don't know if Jay Boogie had an opportunity to talk about it. I don't know if Jarrell has had an opportunity to talk about it. So I'll give you a chance to just give your thoughts on the Obi Toppin trade and the DiVincenzo signing, if you like.
Look, you want to go first, bro?
Oh yeah, I've been speaking about the Obi situation, and I think I spoke upon it here with you last weekend. I think you related to everybody, letting them know that, you know what I'm saying, everybody upset about the 2 picks that we got, but did anybody else offer anything to beat them 2 picks? Nobody seemed like they done that, but I'm just happy for him to have a new beginning, a new route for him to go ahead and take, because so much was being said about Julius and him, the playing time and all that. So if you wanted up out of here to go somewhere to have more of an opportunity for yourself, I respect that, you know what I mean? But my thing is, wherever you go, wherever your journey is going to, my brother, you must accomplish that. You must go ahead and turn your game all the way up. Make us feel and make us be the wrong ones, you know what I'm saying? Right. That got rid of you, which I don't want us to be wrong. Now that you're gone and moved on, I don't want you to go nowhere and turn up. I really hope your game crashed so we won't be so much wrong. You know what I'm saying? Be honest with you, I gotta flip it back to where it needed to be. But yeah, man, he's betting on himself, you know what I'm saying? He wanted out, whatever the situation, whatever the reasons were, you know what I'm saying? In the beginning was wrong we shouldn't never even picked them, but we had a coach and an office that weren't on the same page, knowing that the coach, he wanted a point guard, the office wanted this right here because he's hometown, so they went with the hometown there, you know what I'm saying? And Tom really wanted a point guard, so that started off the little, you know what I'm saying, off-balance relationship amongst, you know what I'm saying, the organization. So now he's getting his wishes, you know what I'm saying? So I wish you well. We don't wish nothing wrong upon you, you know what I'm saying? So go ahead and go to Indiana, run your wing, you know what I'm saying? You got a point guard, but my thing is, man, we didn't draft what we should have drafted. Now we traded to the guy that we shouldn't have drafted to go play and run the wing with the guy that should have been on the Knicks. You know, and that right there, wow, that's you know, that's amazing. But I don't wish nothing bad for you. As you already know, I saluted you. I wrote the song for you. You're still gonna be topping on people's heads, you know what I'm saying? You're still gonna be running and doing the wings, you know what I'm saying? Just don't get a dunk championship over there in Indiana, you know what I'm saying? Don't do that, man. Just let that last one be the one here in New York, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Anything on DiVincenzo? Anybody wanted to say anything who didn't get an opportunity, you know, to talk about it?
Well, I'll talk about Obi a little bit real quick. I just think it was a obvious failure on the front office just because of the return that we got. Unfortunately, I don't think it was Obi's fault that he didn't get any minutes, like he was playing behind an all-star. So I'm actually happy he got moved. Hopefully his game will flourish in Indiana, but it was a red X on the front office for me, just because of the pick and what we got in return, just for low return of investment.
Right.
And it just didn't work out. So, but with I don't know, with top 10 picks, man, you just have to try to make it work out somehow. And unfortunately, it didn't. DiVincenzo, I think he's a nice glue guy, but I think I would have preferred a real backup point guard. Not saying that DiVincenzo can't play, you know, the backup point guard role, but he's more like a Quickley. He's more like a, you know, shooting guard playing point guard. And now we have two of them. And I think because of that, at the cheap price that we got, I think IQ might be out of here. I think that was like the calling card for me. As soon as we signed DiVincenzo, it just clicked in my head. Well, okay, that makes sense. That's IQ's replacement because of the extension that's coming up. So I think we're going to make a trade. And DiVincenzo is kind of like a red flag for me that IQ is out of here.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that. I agree with you. Anybody else want to chime in on DiVincenzo?
They say he the white Jordan.
No, I don't know. That's
Eddie Jordan, maybe.
I'm about to say Marcus Jordan.
right. Yeah, no doubt about it. You know, we'll see. We'll get back to DiVincenzo, you know, in a broader capacity. But if the Knicks don't make any other changes, you know, who's starting, who's the starting five, who's in that second unit, and obviously, if we're sticking with this 9-man rotation, there's somebody in the starting unit that's going to have to run with that second unit. And what's the ceiling on that team? Are we actually better? Delusional, if you want the link, I can definitely drop it. You know, yeah. Who's our starting? Who's starting? Who's off the bench? And are we a better team?
Jeff, you want to go?
Sure. I think we are a better team. I think we're a 50-win team.
All right.
I think that, I mean, consult my notes here. Anytime Queen comes up with the
notes, he taking notes.
So no secret, there are 240 minutes in a game, and we know Mitch and Ihart are going to be splitting the 48 at center, right?
Right.
So that brings us down to 192. And you figure Brunson and Randle are going to get about 70 minutes between the two of them, give or take. So, and I figure RJ is going to get 30 minutes if he's still here. I mean, he got 34 last year, so I can't see them cutting his minutes drastically.
Right.
And we all kind of agree on that. So that leaves Grimes, Quick, Hart, and DDV with 90 minutes to split between the four of them. Now, split it even, it's 22 and a half. Here's the thing. Grimes played 29.9 minutes per game last year. Quickley played 28.9 minutes per game last year. Hart played 30 minutes per game last year.
Wow.
And DiVincenzo played 26.3 minutes per game last year. So all of those guys potentially are looking at a minutes cut, unless you're going to cut minutes from RJ, Randle, or Brunson, and I don't. RJ maybe, Randle and Brunson, I just don't see it at all. I said on Monday that I thought Grimes would stay in the starting lineup, and I kind of think that's true. I think Thibodeau really likes Grimes. I think Grimes and DiVincenzo are really similar, but I think that actually DiVincenzo's ball handling works really well in the second unit with Quickley, especially if Barrett's going to be that guy who's playing with the second unit, and I think he will be. I think you're going to have a 9-man unit. 9-man rotation, and I think that you'll see Quickley and DiVincenzo splitting the ball handling responsibilities on that second unit.
Okay, that's a lot of ball handling on the second unit, and we don't really have it on the first unit. But okay.
Well, but you want the ball in Brunson's hands most of the time anyway with the first unit, and Barrett can do it a little bit, and Julius can do it a little bit, and so it's there in the.
It'll work in the regular season because it worked for us in the regular season. It was the playoffs where it was a problem. Anybody else? All right, so Jeff says we're better. If we don't make any other moves, we're a 50 win team. And Jeff, did you say, I'm sorry, I missed it. Who's running with that second team? Which of the starters is running it with that second team?
Barrett.
Okay.
It'd be Barrett.
So he would be the power forward.
Or Hart, either one. They'll both be in there. So
what happens with minutes is, RJ Barrett will probably, if he's playing more minutes at power forward, the 14 minutes that Obi was playing, then that does open up some small forward minutes for Josh Hart or someone.
Well, I'm just calling Barrett and Hart 3.5s at this point, because I think they're both going to be playing the 4 and the second unit, whichever one, and neither one of them is really a 4. But who are we really scared of on second units that plays the 4 that's just going to kill us for 15 minutes a night? I don't really, I don't see that as a massive issue. Maybe feel free to disagree. I'd love to hear if I'm just completely off on that take, but I'm not worried about that as much as some other folks are, even though it's not my preference to play small.
Yeah, it's not my preference either. I would have to look at the rosters of the other teams, to see if we would be at a real disadvantage in that second. Because listen, you can lose a lead in that second unit. If that second unit is not, decent, they're not able to hold the lead. From the time that they're out there, if you do have a lead, you can lose it. If you're up, if you're already in a deficit, it can get worse. But I'm kind of with you. I'm not quite seeing that, but I would have to look at the other rosters. Anybody else want to weigh in on that? Are we a better team? And who's the starters in your opinion, and who's coming off the bench?
I'll go next. First of all, salute Queen, salute panel, salute to the chat. And I'm gonna, listen, we're already falling out of pace between the number of listeners and the number of likes we have.
Or early. It's early in the show.
It's early in the show, man. Listen, there's 78 people watching, only 33 likes. You know what I'm saying? So come on, guys, let's go. Let's make this happen. There's 45 people not hitting that like button. It's so easy to support the channel, because if you in here listening, that means you're enjoying this. So please give us that little support. Are we a better team?
Yes.
If winning 50 games make us a better team, We probably are. Maybe we'll win. I mean, there are games that we lost last season that we probably wouldn't have lost if we had somebody, somebody that Tom Thibodeau liked, was willing to give minutes to, that somebody who is also producing, making something happen with those minutes. But if being better means going beyond the second round, I don't know that we are better.
Right.
Because I can't say yes or no because we don't know what the rest of the Eastern Conference. I mean, it didn't shape up yet so we could have a clearer picture of who we're going to be up against, right? And even after the teams, they get all their players, we see a clearer picture. We still don't know until the season start playing, right? Like Orlando may look regular right now until they start playing. Then you're like, oh, wait a minute, them kids are balling,
Right.
So we don't know if we're going to be a better team in terms of how far we go. Do you know what I'm saying? But I think we have, on paper, it looks like we should be able to win a couple more games than we did last season because, obviously with more players now that Tom Thibodeau wants to put in the lineup or give minutes to, so it's less stress on the other guys. So we should be able to get better production out of guys like Randle and Jalen Brunson, who I think is really going to take another step this year, which is also going to contribute to us winning more than how many games we won last season?
47.
7. Oh yeah, we definitely. I mean, 50 games is very easy to achieve from what we were last year. But how far we go, me determining are we a better team is how far do we go? Like how early do we go on vacation? How early do we go fishing? Right.
Yes.
So I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, I don't think any of us know, but I agree with you. Are we a better team? To me, is not really about our regular season record. It's about the playoffs. Though the playoffs can get tricky too, where you make it to the second round because of the matchup, or you don't make it to the second round because of the matchup. It doesn't necessarily mean you weren't a better team than last year, but the matchup just didn't favor you. And matchups are important in the playoffs. So I guess that's another question we can talk about. How are you judging whether we're better or not? Is it solely on the regular season, or is it basically if it's the playoffs, then we're not a better team if we don't get to the Eastern Conference Finals?
Exactly, because I think every team when they go into the season, they all have the same goal, right? To win a championship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how close you get to that determines how. Miami didn't have a good record last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
But were they a better team than the year before? Where they didn't make it to the finals, but they had better regular season record. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Oh yeah,
which team was
absolutely.
better?
Right.
And that's a lot of time when people judge Tom Thibodeau, like I think Tom Thibodeau's maybe he has, I don't know what his record is as a coach of the Knicks. Maybe he's got like 5 more wins, like 5 wins above 500. But does that really count for something? I guess it does when you look at it on paper. But how close do we get to a championship is what's going to determine whether we're better or not, in my opinion. So.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. So yeah, and that's my opinion on it.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah, I kind of, a part of me wants to say we're a better team if we make it past the second round, but that's the Eastern Conference Finals. And
Right.
matchups are going to have a lot to do with it.
Yep.
I mean, Queen, think about it. If next season we win 42 games, right, we get in the play-in, and we make it to the Eastern Conference Final, are we a better team?
Yeah, I would say no. I would say no. I would just say we had a better season. I'm not sure.
So
we're a better team, but that's interesting. Anybody else want to weigh in on that? If we don't make any other changes, do you think we're a better team? And then I'll check in with the chat.
Yeah, we're a better team in a whole lot of different ways, you know what I'm saying? As far as the New York Knicks, first thing first, we're a better team because this is our second year with our point guard. he knows and understands what it is amongst this team now. He knows, you know what I'm saying, a little bit more than what he need to do than what he had to do when he was coming into last season. So, you know, that's first thing. Second thing is, you know, even though it's only one person, the person that we did bring over here is a professional adult. He has a championship DNA, and he comes from good organization with Milwaukee. And then when he left from there, he went to another well-deserving organization with the Golden State Warriors, where he was surrounded not only by players, but up in office, you know what I'm saying? So he can learn more and more things about, you know, having the understanding of the game. All that DNA that he brought over here is going to rub off on some of these guys, and you know what I'm saying, in the way that needs to be rubbed off. Plus, he has chemistry with two of the guys that's on the team. So those two things right there pretty much to me makes us better. You know, you can lose in the second round. That doesn't mean you're worse than off of what you did last year. You know what I'm saying? But if you go up there and you perform and you're going to play and you just get outbeat because the team was better, then, you know what I'm saying, that's understandable. But if you go up there and don't perform against a team that you know you should beat, you know, then that's a different look. But I just think we're a whole lot better than what we was. I think we're a whole lot better than what we was a lot of times throughout the season. Wait a minute, go close the door.
Kids abound today.
Yeah, close the door. Good night, love you. Come here. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, it's all good. I can take over for Jay, but give my thoughts on it real quick. I think we might not be. Well, I think we will be better simply because of experience. We was the youngest team in the playoffs last year, so experience-wise, we'll definitely be better. And just like Jay Boog said, Jalen Brunson being on the team and knowing all the parts for the team a little bit better in the second year will make us automatically better as he goes. So we could be a better team, but I think the roster is still flawed by a lot. Like, I think we're still too small. Like, I don't know how, just like Jeff mentioned with all the minutes with the guards, I don't know how that's going to work yet. So if the bench is DiVincenzo, IQ, Hart, and Hartenstein, yeah, I think in the long run, I think we might get beat up depending on the matchup in the playoffs. Like we can lose in the first round depending on who we match up with, just because of size. So yeah, we could be a better team because of experience, but that doesn't mean we're going to get further than we did last year.
Yeah, that's a good point. I will say though, you know, to your point about us being better because we'll have a whole year together. Keep in mind, Brunson, this was Brunson's first year on the team.
Yep.
Right? This was Josh Hart came, you know, at the trade deadline. This was Isaiah Hartenstein's first year on the team. So the chemistry at least should be better going into next season. And I think Brunson is going to be better. This was his first year being a full-time point guard for any team in the NBA, full-time. And he was masterful. So I anticipate that he's going to be even better because he knows what it takes. I think he's going to be stronger. I saw a picture of him. He looked like he's bulked up but slimmed down at the same time, if that makes sense. He looked stronger, but he definitely, you know, looked leaner. And one thing I'll say about him on his defense, he will fight on defense now, but he's just, you know, he's just small. So I think that probably had a lot to do with the DiVincenzo signing as well, just trying to put players, you know, around him that are defensive minded. I still think we have some work to do. Anybody else want to comment on whether or not we're better, or did everyone kind of spoke to it?
Yeah, I'm gonna add something else to it real quick.
Yes.
Pardon me for, you know, my baby. She pulls that routine when it's time to go to bed. Every night, one another reason is to try to stay up. Yeah, I think these guys, they just can't wait to get back to playing basketball. It kind of reminds me when we lost to Atlanta a couple of years ago, and you know, and we felt like we should have beat them. That next season came, we smacked Atlanta all year round. You know what I'm saying? I think they can't wait to get back in the gym with Miami and try to straighten their face and everything. But I just believe that the chemistry, everything amongst the team is a whole lot better. Y'all even went further. You talk about Josh being here for half a season, then you Hardenstein. Chemistry plays a big role and a big part.
Right.
As far as how far you can go. You know what I'm saying? And then last year the team showed a lot in far as like when we didn't get Donovan Mitchell. You know what I'm saying? That really, elevated the team, use that same energy to elevate you. And we ain't getting Paul George. Show everybody that wanted them guys, we didn't need these guys, It's a lot of reasons, for the team to be on that floor playing hard, for themselves, for the team, for the organizations, for the fan base, everybody, the podcast, the chats, play hard for everybody, I really just think that them guys can't wait to get back on the floor and get between the lines, and do some things. No matter what we brought over here or we didn't bring over here compared to people wanting this person to come over here and then it didn't happen. And it's no need for you to be upset about them, because one thing about it, all those scenarios are still in place. All that money is still movable. But just know and just feel appreciated that, we got somebody in there and just ain't going to let you play us. He ain't allowed that with Donovan, and he ain't allowed with Paul. You're not going to play him. So, that stands out to me, man. I just feel like we in great shape coming this season.
Yeah. Remember preseason, there was a few Knicks fans who said 47-50 wins, but most of us was like, I don't know. It's looking like a playing team right here. But I think, we were better than our parts, however that saying goes. And if you get some, internal growth from Grimes and Quickley, I assume they're going to be better. RJ Barrett, I'm not quite sure. He's going into his fifth year, I think. He might be rounding into the player he's going to be. So I'm not quite sure about RJ Barrett. I hope the RJ Barrett we saw in the playoffs is the RJ Barrett we get coming back, but we shall see. If RJ Barrett takes the next step, and I'm not putting a lot, into that, and there's some internal growth, in the rest of our roster, I think we'll be a better team. But I'll tell you what takes this team to another level. And that is if Julius Randle can perform in the playoffs the way he performs in the regular season, the Knicks are championship contenders.
Yep.
Because you have your two stars already.
Yep.
And you might need to make some tweaks around the edges. You might need to, continue to shape the roster like all of these teams do. Boston has their two main players. We hope, I'm not sure if they're going to extend Jaylen Brown, but they have their two main players and they're still tweaking their roster, right? They let Grant Williams go. They let Marcus Smart go. They brought in KP, Porzingis. No matter where once you get your stars, you're going to always tweak the roster. But to me, we can talk about Grimes getting better and getting more shots. We can talk about RJ Barrett shooting the three more. We can talk about Quickley, if he's still here, getting better. The number one thing that catapults the Knicks into instant championship contention is if Julius Randle is him during the playoffs. Then the Knicks are pretty much already there. Now, how many are betting on that? That's the question. But I will tell you this. If I had to put money on Randle, coming into shape, so to speak, in the playoffs versus RJ Barrett developing a consistent jump shot, I would put my money on Randle. That's just where I am. I would put my money on Randle, particularly after watching his interview with Paul George. I'm not sure how many people saw it, but particularly after watching that interview, how, he's somebody that's always trying to get better. And I think he realizes that getting better right now is not even about the skill. His skill level, is there. Sure, you can get, a little better here and there, but he understands that it's about the mental game. He understands that when you get to the playoffs, they scout against you. So the things you got in the regular season, you're not getting in the playoffs. And you have to be able to figure that out from game to game and series to series. So he spoke about that process, and I was kind of impressed with his insight into it. Now, will he be able to pull it off? That's a whole other story. But he's aware. He's aware. If he's able to take a playoff step, all this other conversation, we need to bring in this guy, we need to bring in that. The only reason we're having these conversations for a star is because, at least from the fans' perspective, there's not a lot of confidence that Randle can be that guy in the playoffs. Because if we had confidence in that, everything these content creators are talking about would be totally different. How can we get a third string point guard? How can we would be having different conversations, so will we be better? I mean, yeah, I think we could be better, but that juju in the playoffs, that changes everything.
Queen, can I sneak something in there real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
So watching that interview, he realized he's been that good without watching tapes. All he has to do is watch tapes right now, and everybody else is in trouble because he ain't been watching no tapes all these years, or so he claimed. So if he start actually studying the game and looking, the strategies and what they're doing, I mean, he's going to be a lot better if he does that.
Right. The only thing I'll say is there's watching the tape and being able to see what you need to do. And there's also being somebody who embraces the moment and doesn't shy away from the moment and don't have hiccups in the moment. So I think I'm not sure how you get better in that regard. For some people, it's just once you see it over and over and over and over again, it just becomes easier over time. So that is part of it. What are they trying to do? Being able to recognize it. But the other part is in the big moment, being able to come through at that particular time. Yeah, we shall see. Anybody else?
Yeah, his skill sets is, he has a lot of skills for power forward.
Mm-hmm.
He pretty much do almost everything. So you don't want to worry about the skill sets. But when he does talk about, with his foot being out and he's able to sit down and watch film, do things he ain't never done before, that right there is gonna elevate his IQ, his intelligence part. That's what you're hoping from Julius. If that elevates the intelligence of if he elevates his game to have more intelligence this year, and if it just becomes even across the board with his skill sets, then we got a lot of things, that we can do. But that's what he has to get that, that's that intelligence up, understanding, the double teams, where they coming from, how long should I hold the ball? How quick should I get rid of the ball? Leaving the referees alone, making sure my body language is okay for the teammate. All those things that he should be able to sit down and watch himself throughout this season should allow him to come back and be a different type ball player. He's not going to come back in shape like he normally does because he's out. But don't waste your time for not being in shape and you don't elevate your intelligence. Then that's a loss all the way across the board if you don't utilize that time. So I'm rooting for Julius. Me and Queen, we root for Julius. Matter of fact, Queen said it. He do what he got to do. She gonna give him that 5-year $295.
To what?
Listen, the way I see it shaking out, once teams get really comfortable with this CBA, you're gonna have 2 max players, maybe a mid-tier player, maybe a $20 million player, and everyone else is gonna be like $10-15 million. That's kind of how I see it shaking out, and that's why it's so important that you paying max money to max guys.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not paying your max money to max guys, now you got to go out and pay somebody else to do what they not doing.
Yep.
You know, and I think, you know, we'll get into this when we talk about, you know, the Knicks potentially looking into acquiring OG Anunoby. We'll talk about that. But if Randle plays like that in the playoffs, the way he played in the regular season, he's a max guy. You got to pay him the max. If that's a big if. But I want to ask a question, Jay Boogie. You talked about getting his intelligence right. Just from, and in the chat, you guys can answer this too, and then I'll get to this super chat. Can your basketball IQ get not a little better? I'm sure it can get a little better, because when I think of basketball IQ, I think about feel for the game. You know, can that get better over time, or you either have it or you don't?
Well, if you don't have it, you should have been around enough people, you know what I'm saying, throughout this league. That's one thing. Over time, you should be able to grow in areas where you're shrinking at. And the great ones have done it. Michael Jordan has done it. His athleticism started going down. He started elevating his game in different ways. Kobe has done it. And I'm nowhere near comparing Julius to none of them guys. But it's a certain point in time where, you know, you got to, you know, realize that, yo, I'm not going to be able to do this as much. Maybe I need to do this right here. The thing about Larry Bird, he elevated them IQ levels, intelligent levels before he even lost the little bit of athleticism that he had. You know, that's why he was so great. You know, he was like the leading go-getter as far as intelligence and understanding of the game. And, you know, right now, this is what I root for Julius to get, just to understand the basketball game, you know what I'm saying? And let that film be a director to your next movie that you're about to play come this season. Because you're the Denzel in this movie right here. You're the Denzel. You're the leading actor for as far as this New York Knicks movie that's getting ready to happen 23-24. And it's all up to the character that you're going to be if you're going to be here. Brunson already done showed you what it can be. Some of the other guys going to get a whole lot better. You know what I'm saying? We know what you can do only in the regular season, but like Queen said, you carrying us to the next level in the playoffs, being anything like what you do in the regular season. If you average 24 and 12 in the regular season and come back, we know and understand the playoffs gets more tight and difficult. But if you just still give us 22 and 11, you know what I'm saying, on a constant basis and 4, 5, 6, and no shout outs and going AWOL, that's you done your great job. Done a great job.
Anybody else? And in terms of IQ, is that something that can be grown, or is that, you know, something you just, or maybe not necessarily? I think it can be grown, but if it hasn't grown at this point,
Right.
coming through high school and college and, you know, I don't know, 6, 7 years, you know, is it like this is just who you are as far as that's concerned?
No, I think you do acquire, you know, as you get older. That's part of experience, right? When they talk about players with more experience or veterans or veteran savvy and all these, you know, guys like Chris Paul, he didn't come in the league that smart with that savvy. Like you learn that stuff over time. But you do have to learn it over time, right? It can't be, you know, 5 years later and then you're still making the same mistake you made year one. Obviously, you didn't move. You didn't, you know, your IQ stayed at the same level. So, right. You know, you have to see some sort of progression, some sort of progress with the player. And I don't think there's anybody on our team who, I mean, these guys are getting better. Maybe they're slowly learning a lot of stuff, but it's very slow. But they're getting better. There's some mistakes that Julius Randle made when he first got here. I'm not even talking about when he first got in the league. When he first got in New York, that he no longer does. Same thing with RJ Barrett. Obviously, he got into the league when he was 18 years old. Now there's certain things there's still mistakes that he makes. As fans, we probably feel like he shouldn't still be making those mistakes.
Right.
But everybody learn at a different pace, I guess. Even Mitchell Robinson. Listen, he's still bringing down the rebounds and getting Kyle Lowry smack the ball away from him after so many years in the league. Like he still hasn't learned that. So
listen. I think feel for the game, like Chris Paul
had it.
Yes. Even though he's gotten better in terms of learning the NBA game, his feel for the game was there. By the time he got to the NBA, his basketball IQ, his feel for the game. Now, you may try to do something and see it, based on the feel that you have, but it doesn't work because guys are quicker and they're faster and they get into their spots quicker and so you have to adjust to that. But the feel for the game was there. But I agree, he's gotten better over time. Mitchell Robinson has no feel for the game, particularly on the offensive end. And it's not even the shooting. It's not even the shooting. It's when you have a feel for the game, you get the ball, you can turn around toward the basket, you can see cutters, and things like that. You just have a feel for it.
Right.
He doesn't have that feel for the game. RJ Barrett, would you agree that feel for the game and floor game is the same, or you would think is it different?
It's about the same for me. It all comes into like the basketball IQ umbrella.
Yeah. So like RJ Barrett, first few years I said, wow, this guy has a real good feel for the game.
Right.
Then it seemed like it just evaporated. And then in the playoffs, it came back. I don't know if that's a mental thing or confidence thing, but Julius Randle understands the game. You'll see him sometimes calling for people to, like, I need you to, be in this spot, or throw his hands up because he saw something and the person didn't move, the player didn't move to the spot. Yeah, I don't know if we got like super high IQ players on this team, but I think we have players with a decent feel for the game. Anybody else want to comment on that? If you think it's something you have or you develop, and just basically where our team is as far as that's concerned.
Go ahead, Jeff.
You're muted, Jeff.
Jeff.
I don't think you can go from 0 IQ to LeBron James IQ.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But I do think that you can Vinny Testaverde it. You know what I mean? Vinny Testaverde, when he started with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, was an awful quarterback. He was an interception machine. He couldn't read a defense. He couldn't do anything. And then by the time he played for the Jets and the Cowboys, he wasn't an all-star, but he was a seasoned veteran who you could count on and was reliable and could lead a playoff team. And that's something you never would have imagined. And this is a guy who, when he was the dumb as a box of rocks from when he came into the league. So I know different sports, but I think it has the same effect. So is Julius Randle ever going to be a basketball savant out there? No. But can he go from knucklehead to not a knucklehead? Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. That's definitely a good point.
Well, I was just going to say that some people are just special. That's all what it comes down to. Like some people, like the sport or whatever you're doing just slows down.
Right.
And for some people, it doesn't slow down. It can get slower as you're learning, but some people are just gifted enough to see it early. And since they get to see it early, like Magic Johnson, his feel for the game he's had since he was 11, 12 years old. Like it starts then. And he just, as he gets older, he becomes Magic Johnson. Like it just depends on who you are. Like everybody can learn, but everybody also has a ceiling and a floor, just like everything else.
Right. Where do you think, Jarrell, in terms of the players on our team, do we have any savants? Do we have any high IQ, middle IQ, low? Like where would you say we are?
I would say low, but we are. Yeah, we like when it comes to the whole roster. Yeah, when you think about it, like other than Jalen Brunson, I mean, he's the only point guard on our team, like real point guard. Like point guard are people who play point guard usually are the ones who have all the basketball IQ. Whether you're like a traditional point guard, I'm just talking about the person who handles the ball and runs the offense, like LeBron James, like you was talking about earlier. So it doesn't really necessarily have to be your point guard, but Jalen Brunson is the only person on the team that we are comfortable with the ball in his hands in that way. So just because of that, no, we can't have a high basketball IQ team. We just don't.
Yeah,
Like,
if I had to pick out a few, go ahead, Jerome.
I was just gonna say, but that they're just not the people that we have just aren't special at it. Not saying that they can't learn it because we have such a young team. Like I said before, we were the youngest team in the playoffs.
Right.
So as we keep going, if we do have the same players, just from experience alone, the basketball IQ would get higher.
Right.
But they just won't be, like the special ones, like Jalen Brunson might be.
Right. Yeah. If I had to pick a few, I think IQ has, good basketball IQ, particularly on defense as well.
Those Villanova boys, Hart and
Yes.
DiVincenzo.
Yeah, I was
think
about to
they
say
have good basketball IQ.
Josh Hart and Isaiah Hartenstein, I think also has a good feel for the game.
Good point.
Good basketball.
Like I thought
IQ.
Jeff made a good point when it comes to quarterback. Like if you ever play any sport, the more you know, the slower it feels.
Right.
The slower the court looks, the slower the field looks. Baseball, the slower the pitch is coming to you because you know where it's going to be at. Like that ball is coming 100 miles an hour. And players are still hitting it out the park. There's a reason for that. Like the game slows down for them. It's out of repetition, how special you are. It's just a microcosm of everything that comes along with your talent. So, it just depends on who you are.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let me read this super chat from Silk Sutton. I like that name.
Salute.
Salute. Appreciate the super chat. Appreciate you rocking with us this evening. Hi, staff. If we start getting beat up by a bigger power forward on the bench, we have Isaiah Roby and Sims for defensive purposes. They situational. This is going back to RJ Barrett playing that small ball power forward. And would we be overmatched in that, 8, 10, 12 minutes that he may play there? So Silk Sutton is bringing up the point. In those situations, we can probably go with Isaiah Roby. We'll have a better sense of Isaiah Roby from Summer League and training camp, and Sims, and that's a good point. And I know we've kind of went over this topic before, but I will say this. I do think Sims can play those backup power forward minutes. The issue is when Sims is in the game at power forward, Isaiah Hartenstein would have to be in the game. I just can't see Sims and Mitch in the game at the same time.
I don't see it because I don't see Tom Thibodeau going to a 10-man rotation. Like that, like as soon as we
that's true because we brought in DiVincenzo. You're right.
Right.
That would make it a 10-man. Yeah.
As soon as we start adding pieces or talking about other players getting minutes, I have in the back of my head that in order for it to happen, Tom Thibodeau will have to change.
Right.
And I don't think he's going to. So that's why I said this roster is in trouble when it comes to size because I don't think Sims is going to play just because of the rotation.
Yeah,
I'm along with you. I don't think I said it before. I don't think Sims, really has a place here. But I do know. I'm just being fair. I mean, when I go back and look at the history of the big men that come from Texas, they came up out of there and had it. You know what I'm saying? All of them. I mean, the Texas big men, they was known for developing their big men, and this guy came out. All he want to do is just jump. That's it. That's his skill set. Jump. I'm a jump. That's my skill set. I jump. That's it. But this guy Isaiah, I know a lot of people waiting to see what he's gonna do and what he's gonna look like. Me personally, he should average nothing less than 20 and 8 inside this summer league.
Oh,
He's
no
supposed
doubt.
to punish these guys. You know what I'm saying? And he has a lot of skill sets. Sim ain't nowhere near on his level, his skill set. And this guy can do a lot of things on the floor. And then if he comes in the game, for far as being a backup power forward to Julius, you know what I'm saying? What he can do in Julius' area when he's setting the picks, he can pick and pop, or he can pick and roll. You know what I'm saying? He can do both of those things. You know what I'm saying? Julius likes to pick and pop. He doesn't pick and roll. So when he comes on the floor, he can do both of those things. The guy can shoot. The guy has a nice, pretty game, and a lot of people that don't know, not aware of his game, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna get a chance to see it. I do understand that, you know, OKC moved on from him because of bigger, higher name talent was coming in. So, you know what I'm saying? Like Holmgren, he's back, you know. So they had to make way for certain people. Now this guy gives us an opportunity. He has an opportunity to come here and give us something where everybody feel like, yo, we need a backup power forward. And it's in him, it's Isaiah, and the office feel like it's Isaiah, but you got to go out there and show it, big fella, and fight for your career, because this is your opportunity now, coming from OKC. When back in the day, you know what I'm saying, you used to think, yo, how you ain't make OKC? Yo, they should trash. You should be on there. But now they're coming up. So now you got another opportunity to come over here and fit in right perfectly. So, yeah, man, we got somebody 6'8", can pretty much do a lot of things that's in that summer league, and can't wait to see him. I want to see him succeed.
What real shot? Oh, let me just read this other super chat. Trish D33 LGK. I think that's Let's Go Knicks. Appreciate the super chat. Appreciate you rocking with us this evening. Khalid Moore looks promising. They invited him to play in summer league, but both two ways gone now. Aren't the two ways somebody said year to year?
I believe
We
so,
have
yes.
3 2-ways, and the Jalen Martin one is for 2 years.
Oh, it is for 2 years. Okay.
I saw that on Twitter today. The Jalen Martin 2-way contract is for 2 years, and Jacob Toppin is on a 10-day exhibit 10 contract, not on a 2-way contract. So Toppin's not going to be with the team very long.
And if he's not on he's not playing summer league. So what does that even mean? What was the point of this?
Well,
But
I
the
think
exhibit 10s come to training camp.
yes.
Okay.
But he's not gonna get a roster spot. He's getting exhibit 10 guarantees him $75,000, which isn't NBA money, but it's a nice paycheck for a kid straight out of college. And then, you know, and then it allows him to go where he wants to as a free agent or G League or what. And I guess he could still play for the Westchester Knicks, but it won't be on a 2-way contract, because those are going to be we already have our 3 2-way contracts.
Well, Captain, let me ask you a question real quick, Captain, because I know you know. I don't know, but my thing is, yo, why is Deuce not on this team?
Who?
Deuce?
Deuce McBride.
He's been in the league about 4 or 5 years now, but you know, so has Roby.
He ain't been here that long. He only got 2 seasons.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
I guess I know this. Tibbs loves Deuce, so
Right.
I don't think they're worried about. I think they're probably more worried about him possibly getting injured than they are what they can see from him in the summer league. Is the only thing I can guess. I mean, I don't think they're real worried about winning summer league games. So maybe they just feel like there are better ways for McBride to develop than in the summer league. I wouldn't mind seeing him. I mean, but maybe they just feel like he's too old for it. I don't know.
Same question for Jericho Sims.
I'm actually surprised Roby is is actually
Me
playing.
too.
Like, he shouldn't be on the summer league team to me. He
Right.
doesn't. I don't think he has that much to prove. Like he's had like production in the NBA for multiple seasons already. So
Yeah, he has. He did well, not necessarily in San Antonio, his last stop, but with OKC, I think he averaged 8 points something that last season with them, and then 10 point something points the season before his last with them. But maybe they feel like, we need to see you. But listen, I would have put Deuce on the summer league team as practice running the squad. Because if you think about what they did with Grimes at last summer league, because he was on there. I mean, obviously he was just he was a second year player. So second year players, usually play on the summer league team. But I think they wanted to see him as the go-to guy. He was in a specific role in summer league, and I think you could have did the same thing with Deuce. Yes, we see him. You see him in practice, but I want to see him run a team, even if it's a summer league team.
Right.
I want to see him as the primary point guard and see his decision making. I know, Jarrell has said this often. He's a shooting guard and a point guard's body. But in the NBA, if you're going to be here for a while at that size, unless you're dynamic, you're going to have to play the point guard position. And so that means you're going to have to learn how to run the team, and you're going to have to tighten up that handle. And the summer league is an opportunity for him to do that. So I know they know who he is as far as his defense and things like that. But I would have liked to have seen him in summer league just so he can practice running the team.
That's what I want to see. I need to see him be put in that position because, say for a scenario, they trade Quickley. You know what I'm saying? They trade him. He got to be ready to be able to slide right into that spot. You know what I'm saying? He moves up. He doesn't stay where he at. Because I figure whatever trade we're gonna do is gonna be a two for one. You know what I'm saying, to get right for his rotation. You know what I'm saying, whatever he want to do. But to me, I mean, I needed to have seen a little bit more from him just in case, another guard just in case IQ does go away from here.
If IQ goes away, Donte DiVincenzo is going to be taking that spot. I mean, I actually think McBride's days as a Knick are numbered. I don't see a real path for him to crack the rotation. And, beyond this year, I think he's going to get Obi Toppin, for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah.
So you don't
going to get Toppined?
You're going to get Toppin.
You don't think, okay, like you said, if IQ goes away and DiVincenzo, he moves into that point guard spot, you don't think that takes him away from really actually what they thinking he should be at that 40-something% and shooting a tray? Because I mean, we did that with IQ, trying to make him into something that he really, really wasn't on, even though he was able to do it. That shows his IQ level. But, so I think we having too many scenarios where we be having guys playing out of their position. That's why you don't see what their normal thing is able to flourish no more. I'm just asking.
I don't know that Grimes' natural position. I don't know that Deuce's natural position is point guard, though. I think because of his size, we want him to be a point guard, but I think his natural position is a shooting guard who can't shoot. And that's why he doesn't get major minutes.
I wish we had instant rewind because I want to go back and see the Queen's face on that one.
Because I'm like, we got people talk about, wanting RJ to play the shooting guard. I'm like, come on, shooting guard, shooting and guard. Being able to
do neither. You can't do neither.
Yeah, I McBride. Listen, it's not about what you did in college. You could have had the skill set in college. You could have had the skill set on the playground. It has to translate to the next level. You can even do it in the G League. It has to translate to the next level. And for McBride, it just hasn't. I don't want to hear nothing that he only plays 5 minutes. That could be why he's only playing 5 minutes, because they see him in practice as well. But listen, I'm not one of those who say, "Oh, you don't play enough minutes to see what you can do." I don't believe in that. Now, I will say that he doesn't play enough minutes to average 10, 12, 14 points a game. You're not getting those minutes. You're not getting those shots attempt. So statistically, you're not going to look as good. But you can see a person's skill set in 5-6 minutes. Mm-hmm. You can see, especially if you're watching them for an entire season. Oh, what can you do in only 8 minutes a game? A lot. Nobody's expecting you to shoot 100%, but if you take 3 shots, hit one of them. You know, I mean, and then if you're playing 10, 12, 14, 17 minutes a game, yeah, damn right, you can see what a person is bringing to the game. And it's not about the stats. Again, it's about watching the person and seeing their skill set and seeing what they bring and what they're doing in their time. I'm not very high on Miles McBride.
I think the thing with Deuce goes back to what we were talking about earlier. I think McBride is a player who the NBA game hasn't slowed down for him. It's still too fast for him. Not defensively, but I'm talking about on offense. Like he can't get by a guy off the dribble. He can't. His shot, his release on his shot is slow. You know, so you have all of these things that the game is just too fast for him offensively. And then on defense, I think he's fine. I think he's plugged in and he's fine. But I don't know if he'll ever get to the point where the game is going to slow down for him enough on offense where he can be a productive player.
That's saying a lot. You know, that's saying a lot. But because if he can shoot just enough to keep the defenses honest, right? I don't think you have to be a world beater out there, but it can't be 29, 28% or whatever he's shooting now. I would like him as a spot player. I would like him as the third point guard, on this team. Like you look at McConnell. At this point, I think he's the third point guard on Indiana because Nembhard, I think his name is playing before him. And I know McConnell is old and crafty and he's been in the league for a long time, but he's a solid third point guard. Anything happen to those two in front of them and you put McConnell in there, I can't tell you how many times I picked him up on my fantasy team when somebody got hurt, and he helped me win the week, and I would like to see McBride in that role. But you got to shoot enough to keep the defenses honest. We'll see. I think they picked up his option, so he'll be back.
I forgot he was on the Pacers. You mean we couldn't have got that guy with the OB trade, man? We had to. Oh my God.
They didn't want that guy. They didn't want to take back salary.
They didn't want to take back salary.
Well, how much is he making? He can't be making that much, McConnell.
Well, if he's making more than $1 million, they didn't want to.
No, he's definitely making more than $1 million. I looked at his contract the other day. I think he get a little something nice, for his game pass on a year-to-year basis. But
is he making more or less than Obi?
I think they're about the same.
About the same,
right? But I think the Knicks didn't want to take back salary, and I just want to point this out and a salute to Ron who just joined. He's only making 1.8. That's all McConnell. Hammer, don't hurt him. That's all he's making, 1.8 million.
We couldn't have got that guy in the OB trade. Come on, man.
But this is what I'll say to the OB's 2 picks. That's what the Celtics got for Grant Williams. They got 2 seconds and a trade exception, which is what the Knicks got for Obi Toppin. I'm seeing a lot of second-round picks. I haven't gone over the CBA enough, but apparently these second-round picks are valuable because this is what Chris Duarte went to Sacramento for 2 second-round picks. I think the big thing now is teams don't want to take on salary. They don't want a player. It's just better to go with, I don't know, a minimum guy than to bring back a guy on a salary in this current CBA and go over the luxury tax. That's the only thing I can think of, because Robert Williams he's better than Obi Toppin in my opinion. His skill set may not be as diverse as Obi Toppin's flashed to be. But in terms of toughness, in terms of defense, in terms of hitting a 3-point shot, they got 2 second-round picks and a trade exception for him.
Steph, real quick before Ron go, that 1.8 is for Deuce, not TJ McConnell.
Oh.
Yeah, I was wondering. I know I saw something more than that.
Yeah, TJ making, I think, like around 8, 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we're not going in the luxury tax.
8.7.
Yeah. And yes, he is a vet, and he was with the Sixers because he used to cut us up every time he played against us.
But to the TJ McConnell point, real quick, I don't think shooting is necessarily Deuce's problem. I think his problem is actually running the offense because TJ McConnell's not a shooter either.
That's true. That's true.
And a lot of other point guards aren't
That's
really
a good
shooters, but they can still get minutes just because they run the team well. Deuce has to get better at running the basketball team.
Right.
Running the offense. He can't seem like he can do that at all. Like he can actually score. It might not be from the 3-point, but he can score the basketball. I don't think he can make for anybody else though. I think that's his problem. If he gets better at that, he'll get more minutes.
Right.
Sound like a confidence situation.
Yes. Absolutely.
He never when you hear him speak, he never comes across anyway as someone lacking confidence, but speaking is one thing, and playing is something else. Shout out to Ron from Still Knick fans for joining us. I got an opportunity to hang out with your other half, John, at the MBK cookout, and I was so surprised to see him. It's been like forever.
Yeah.
That's my guy. So it was just good to be able to, to talk to him. But how you doing? How's the family? How things going?
I'm okay. Family's, okay. Touch and go. We got some better days ahead of us, but days it's getting brighter. It's getting brighter.
There you go.
Just not quite where we need to be yet, but we'll get there. But thank you for asking. Appreciate you guys as always. Thank you, Steph. And shout out to you guys, Jay Boogie, Ajay, Jeff, Jarrell. Good to see y'all as always. And to the wonderful chat. Appreciate y'all. Actually, I don't know. I thought I'd have more time, but I don't know how much time I actually got. I'm supposed to actually jump on a private StreamYard with Sim and Tony. So, and we were hoping to get you on there too. Yeah, you know what I mean? Moving, baby. Anyway, we was hoping to get you on there too, Steph, but forgot that you had the show tonight. But we'll
just keep me updated on whatever.
Yeah. But what I did want to say was, I think that's exactly what's going on. And I think Jeff kind of put it out there the other day when he started mentioning these second round picks. This is the new currency, man. This is that guapo. You gotta go get that. So these second round picks is crazy. And I was talking about it earlier tonight on the NBA report with Eru. I don't think the Knicks. I think that name probably came up. I think the fact that Chris Duarte went for 2 second-round picks, and the Knicks got 2 second-round picks for Obi for Duarte. But then I don't think the Knicks wanted no players like you guys were saying. I don't think they wanted to take on any money. I think the biggest part that the Knicks got back was that $6.8 million trade exception. I think that's what they really wanted. Some flexibility to do something without having to worry about more money hitting the cap. Because unless I'm wrong, and if you guys have heard otherwise, I saw something that Fred Katz posted that the Knicks are capped out. Like they are right at the threshold, right there. Like if they spent $10 more, they'd be over. So it's like they're working with not having a lot. So I don't think that they're done because I still think they could pull off a trade. But they definitely ain't signing nobody unless it's a sign and trade. So
this is the question I have. I notice a lot of teams not wanting to go over the luxury tax. I get not wanting to go over the first apron. So there's the salary cap, there's the luxury tax, there's the first apron, there's the second apron. I get when you go over the first apron, even the second apron, you basically locked into that team. You really can't make any moves to improve your roster. Even over the first apron, there's some things that are taken away from you in terms of improving your team. But going over the luxury tax, it's just money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to understand why teams don't want to go over the luxury tax. Is that more punitive this time around than it was the last time?
Well, if you're in the luxury tax, you can't have the full non-taxpayer MLE, you get the taxpayer MLE, and the taxpayer MLE is about half, a little over half. I'd say maybe like 8 million instead of 12 million, or 7 million instead of. I don't know the exact numbers, but I know that it's less. And as far as it goes, I think the Knicks are about $4 million under the cap right now. So they have a little. The Obi trade did give them a little bit of wiggle room. So, but before the Obi trade, they were literally up against it.
Okay. All right.
If they had made the Paul George trade, they would have been like $85,000 under the tax line. So all of this was done. Brock Aller's a genius, in case y'all didn't know. But all of this was done where the Knicks could have pulled off that move if they had wanted to, and still remained underneath the tax line, which is smart, because you don't want to be. It's just money, but then there's a repeater penalty, right? So if you're in the tax 2-3 years in a row, then that penalty gets more and more, and so you don't want that clock to start until you're a contender if you can help it.
Right, and not just that. Once you use the non-taxpayer mid-level exception, you are hard capped. Like you cannot go over the luxury tax for the rest of the season. Otherwise, teams would get under, use the 12 million, and then go over the luxury tax. No, if you're under and you use it, it's a non-taxpayer's exception. If you use it, you have to remain a non-taxpayer for the rest of that season, which means staying under the tax. Okay. I got it. I got it. And to Anthony D, how do you know I'm a liberal? You don't know if I'm a liberal or not. You know, because I said it's only money, and the point I was trying to make is, in the old CBA, if you going over the cap, you just pay the tax, and if you're an owner and you got the money, pay it. Dolan has the money, pay it. But I get it now. You can't, and the Knicks will have to stay under that for the rest of the season.
I mean, is that good or bad? I mean, it's bad timing because the Knicks can't, finagle and move around the way other teams have been afforded the past few years. Right. But is it a good thing? So that maybe it forces the Knicks to appreciate some of their young talent still while they got it, because it's cost effective.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
how long will it be cost effective though?
That's the problem. That is the problem.
Right. And there was a report. I want to say, was it The Athletic? Was it Andy Katz or was it someone else? I can't remember, who said that the Knicks have actually been doing what I suggested they do. They've been making calls to front offices, trying to package their young guys, if this is true.
Oh, yeah.
For prime aged veterans, not over the hill, but prime aged veterans. And that's what I was saying. Listen, you can't just wait for somebody to pop open, knock on the door and see. So that's what they've been doing. And I think what I like about it is you got Brunson, who popped last season. These other guys are just not on his level yet. I'm not saying they won't get there. They're just not on his level yet. How much of his prime do you want to use waiting for these guys to get up to speed?
That's a fantastic point, but it's not just his prime. It's his value as a $26 million salary.
That too. Right.
You know what? In other words, because 2 years from now, that last year is an player option. You think he's going to want to play for $24 million when he can make 60?
No,
I would bet against it. He's a smart guy. He's going to be getting a max the next time. If he stays healthy, he's getting a max in 2 years. So you have this window, not just of his skill set and his prime, but this window where you can make moves and acquire salary because you're underpaying a guy. You're getting max production for half of a max contract.
Right. That is the other point. And then someone pointed out, I almost forgot, we still got Fournier on this roster.
Fournier.
And the Spurs made a move. I forgot what it was. They made a couple of moves. So now they don't have money to absorb Fournier's contract outright. The Knicks would have to take back a player if they were to move him to the Spurs. I'm not sure if there's anybody with cap space left that can absorb his contract.
Didn't they get Reggie Bullock in that Grant Williams trade and
that 3-team trade?
I wasn't necessarily. I don't know why people thought he was automatically just go to the Spurs anyway, just because they got somebody else from France. Like,
right?
It could be somebody else. It doesn't have to be the Spurs.
Right. Yeah. So at this point, shout out to Keith Turner, always rocking with us. Fournier will be hard to move.
Yep. And I don't think we're going to move him unless we make a big deal, because we're going to have to give up a draft pick to get rid of him. I'm not doing that.
Well, you know what? Instead of attaching these first-round draft picks, why don't you attach one of the 45 second-round draft picks? I mean, like, say, listen, it may look if the Knicks got to, if the Knicks got to attach, I don't know, because that them second-round picks might be, that's pure right there.
We only have about 30 of them. So
yeah, but if you got to attach a second-round pick to get this guy moved, or maybe even I don't want to do that. That's too much. But like a second round pick to get him moved, maybe might be what we need to do, because they seem to be a little bit more of a hot commodity. Maybe that's what it takes. No first round picks. That's stupid. That's ridiculous. But maybe a second round pick. I just feel like the Knicks. This is bad PR, man. Like after Fournier being a really stand-up individual, didn't make a lot of waves because, he's a guy who's making $18 million per year, and he's been the guy on different teams. He could make waves if he wanted to, but he was a model citizen. He only kind of turned up his face in the playoffs because, when you're part of that playoff atmosphere, you want to be out there with your guys, and that would make you like the cheerleading in you might go away. But still, he was not a problem. He didn't go to the press. He was just a model citizen. I'm like, they got to do right by this dude, and that would kind of upset me as a Knicks fan. I'm like, come on, man, don't leave this guy here. Get him out of here somehow.
Right. I read somewhere also that they wanted to do right by him in terms of where they sent him as well. Them options is dried up.
Yeah,
like, there's only so much, only so much out there.
But in terms of the second round pick, the Knicks having about a zillion of them and holding on to them, to use Ajay's word, with a tight grip.
Smash that like button for Ajay, y'all. Come on now.
He texted me. He said, and look what these other teams is doing, and the Knicks is holding on to these second round picks with a tight grip.
Yep. Even adding them. We're adding second round picks.
Yeah.
You can never have too many. Well, anyway, I'm sorry, Steph. I thought I could be on a little longer. I didn't know that we were still going to be able to meet, but it looks like we will be able to meet. I will fill you in, or we'll fill you in on what's going on. But I want to say thank you once again for having me. Shout out to you guys once again. Appreciate the chat. Let's go Knicks. And if you didn't catch the NBA report tonight, please do watch the replay. Eru was there joining me. It was a good conversation. And we're going to be coming to you with a new look in about 3 weeks or so, first week of August. The NBA report will no longer be called the NBA report. We're switching the name up. We're doing something different. We're going to hit you with something new. Hopefully y'all like it, because the NBA report is no longer just ours. It was ours for about 2 years, but apparently Knicks Fans TV took the name and made their own channel. But whatever, I ain't saying nothing. I'm not saying that. I'm just, we see how it is. So we're going to do what we got to do. We ain't stopping nothing.
And that's what I love about the MBK fan. We real positive. What's next? We're not sitting and stewing in negativity. What's next? Those my brothers over there. I appreciate y'all. Keep me in the loop in terms of what's going on. Appreciate y'all.
All right. Take care, y'all. Have a great rest of the show. I'll listen to what I missed.
Salute,
later.
bro.
Salute.
Queen, can we? Yeah. Speaking of those second round and Gerald,
get him, Ajay. I already know it's coming. Get him.
No. Listen. So we got second round picks flying all across the league, right? For good players, right? Mm-hmm. Then when the Knicks sit at the table for Paul George, They want a first round. They want 3 first-round picks. Then they want IQ. They want Grimes. They want RJ. Like, what is this? Is this like a conspiracy for Paul George? For 33-year-old,
Right.
AKA 80-year-old Paul George.
You know what? I think the Clippers, at least at this point, I think this may change soon. They were in a different place than Washington. Washington just wanted to get off of Beal's salary. That was more like a salary dump. From what I'm understanding, the Clippers are not looking to salary dump Paul George. They want to trade him for value. Now, it may get to the point where it's just a salary dump, but they're not there yet. So they're on a different boat than Washington. And there was somebody else that it seemed John Collins, who went from Atlanta. That was more a salary dump. They weren't interested in what they got back that much anyway. They just wanted to dump the salary. I don't think the Clippers are there with Paul George. But I still think they just asking for too much and not taking into consideration his injury history. But that's not for them to take into consideration. It's for the other team to be like, nah, which is what the Knicks did.
It's, you heard of a deal you can't refuse. This is a deal you cannot accept.
Right.
It's like it's a FU deal. Like, they really don't want to deal with us, or they really don't want to trade him. It's like they go through the exercise just for show, but then they don't really want to trade him.
Yeah,
I think we're worried about that closer to the trade deadline, though. You never know. Like, if the Clippers suck in the first half of the season, you never know what they'll do.
Right. Well,
only thing the Clippers care about right now, they want to make sure they solidify their roster, opening up that brand new building. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is, if your owner telling you that, yo, I'm not extending you guys, what makes you think you're going to jump over to another team and we're going to extend you? So, that to me, I commend Leon Rose for that. As long as that right there, that's accurate and correct, that we wasn't going to extend them after giving up all them pieces, you know what I'm saying? I'm not mad at him for that, at all, period, But a lot of these guys, just because we're on some up, our franchise is on up and coming. You know what I'm saying? We're here. We arrived. We're here now. And the league knows that. But just because we're here now don't mean that we're going to take on a lot of these old guys that want these extra big contracts because we're looking for a star player. You know what I'm saying? So I commend you for that. Just because we're looking for a star player, you're not just going to come in here with all these years, that you don't play in the league and expect you just going to ask us for any and everything. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do that at all. We've been grinding without y'all. You know what I'm saying? Now, because we got money, cap space, and we trying to get better and things is looking more in our favor, don't knock on our door trying to be your last contract. You know what I'm saying? Something that's going to, take you all the way out to be 38 years old and you're going to eat lovely, you know what I'm saying, on the tail end, when you had opportunities to come earlier, you know what I'm saying? Even though I understand, we was on shaky ground as far as, our organization at time, we was a train wreck at times, you know what I'm saying? But one thing about it, we still gave people that money. You know what I mean? For the reasons they got injured, hurt, caps, salaries didn't work out. We overpaid some people, but right now, we got somebody that just ain't going to give you no money, especially if you old and you over the edge. You just looking for, you only got one more contract. No, we don't need to be doing that. You keep thugging it out like we doing, and keep grinding in the way that we're grinding. Things will get better because if everybody break up, if you break up and you're not solidified amongst your max players and your team is not set behind you, then you're gonna be in trouble. Us, it looked like Leon is starting to groom guys like he did with Donte. Let me give you the small $12 million contract. You know what I'm saying? If he keep bringing little small things in there, and either Julius popped, we already know Brunson is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And we got our whole core, and these other teams is breaking up from their cores, you know what I'm saying? We stand a whole big giant chance, against a lot of teams that's breaking it up, don't know what they're doing, and ain't can't figure out what they're doing with their money yet, because a lot of them teams got to tear that down. Things got to tear that down. We got to tear that down. They swinging for right now. If it don't happen this year, they got to break that up, tear it down.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Finish.
No, I just was saying they tearing down, we tearing up.
Yeah, I mean, I whatever they choose to do with over there, do it. I'm okay. You know, like you said, Jay Boogie, I'm okay with the Knicks bowing out of talks. I know Freezy, he usually listens to the show. I know he real tight right now because
Paul George.
Yeah, he real tight right now.
For what they were asking, man, they could keep their Paul George, man.
Yeah, if you guys didn't get an opportunity, you could check out Freezy and the show we did. You know, we rock every week, 1 week on my channel, alternating between my channel and his channel. We did it. You can catch it on YouTube if you want, but you can also catch it on all of your streaming platforms. I'm about to put the link in the chat. You know, so one way to support the channel is to download the audio podcast. You ain't got to listen to them, but download the audio podcast. That definitely helps the channel and helps what I'm trying to do in just terms of building out my basketball voice and putting it in different platforms. So I'm about to drop the link in the chat. Wherever Apple, if it's Apple, if it's Spotify, if it's PM Player, if it's Google, wherever you listen to your podcast, download the Just Nicking It podcast. And yeah, download it. Even if you don't listen to it, download it. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the Knicks possibly pursuing OG Anunoby. We've talked about this, multiple times, over the season, in the off season. I want to talk about it on two fronts. One of them is just comparing him to RJ Barrett. Is he better or not? But I want to share this part. I get the, what is that? The newsletter by Jonathan Macri from Knicks Film School. Shout out to Jonathan Macri. He made a good point about OG Anunoby. He's only making $18 million. He has a player option. Chances are he's going to decline that. Now the Knicks have to sign him. He's eligible for a max, I think 40-something million a year or something like that. He's CAA now, so maybe you can get a small discount. But even 30 million, as much as I like Anunoby, I just think that might be a bit too much. And I don't know if we're going to be able to get him at 20, any less than 30. I think if we can get him at 30, that's going to be a steal. I think it's going to be more than that. So just talk about him from a basketball standpoint, whether you like him more than you like RJ Barrett, or if you think he would be a better fit. Put it that way. You think he would be a better fit, but then also add in, would price change that? Like, he's a better fit in a vacuum, but if I got to give him 30, 35, 40, that changes everything. Just your thoughts on Anunoby in that respect. And then I'm listening.
All right. I guess I'll go first. Obviously, OG Anunoby is a better fit than RJ Barrett. Like what we asked RJ to do when it comes to being a wing, like trying to be a 3-and-D guy, OG Anunoby is obviously a better fit than RJ. His health is definitely a concern for me, and especially with his contract coming up. I'm not giving OG Anunoby $40-something million. Personally, I wouldn't do that. Now, if it was in the 30s, I have to really think about it because he is one of the primary young 3-and-D players coming up, especially with his contract coming up. But I don't really see us trading for him and actually extending him with the contract that he will want. Like that $40 million, that's going to be a lot, especially at the time that we will have to be paying Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle at the same time. So I don't really see it from a financial standpoint, but when it comes to the fit of the team, he obviously is a better fit. Like he's the 6'7", 6'8" wing that we desperately need on this roster. So he'll be a fit basketball wise, but financially, no, I don't see it.
I think you hit it on the head. From a basketball fit, I think he fits well. But I think that the Knicks front office is trying to walk a thin tightrope here. I don't think they want to make any move that could potentially take them out of the running for if a big game player becomes available, MVP level, Joel Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think they're saving their ammunition so that they have enough if one of those players becomes available where they can make that deal with their combination of their draft picks and players like RJ Barrett, Quentin Grimes, Emmanuel Quickley, even other guys like Mitchell Robinson, if you're trading for an Embiid type. And I'm not advocating for any of these. I'm just saying that the Knicks want to go big game hunting, and that's what they've wanted to do since Leon Rose took over. But they want to do it for a certain caliber of player. And I don't think at age 33 that PG-13 was that caliber of player. And I'm not sure that OG Anunoby is that caliber of player either. So right. I think that if they make an Anunoby trade, it would be with the thought in mind that here's a player that we can move in the offseason in a package that another team is going to want. Right. And is going to be a decent amount of salary going out. I don't think that they would view Anunoby as a long-term piece. I could be wrong about that, but I think ultimately, and it sounds weird because we haven't made any of the big moves yet, but I think that the Donovan Mitchell and the Paul George tell us something. Those are both excellent players, but they're a notch below the target that our front office is looking for. So, and if OG is expiring, I don't know that's going to happen. I don't think that the Knicks are going to take the risk on a guy being a flight risk, and I'm not sure that they would be willing to extend him unless it was at a number where they felt that they would be able to move that in a bigger package if they needed to.
No doubt about it. But let me ask you this though: do you have to wait for the big fish? If you traded for a Zach LaVine, a Towns, I'm not that those guys are available. Those guys who are not superstars, but may be considered stars. Even OG Anunoby is definitely not a star. Those guys can be flipped when those stars do become available. So I don't think the Knicks have to sit down and wait for those guys. I think you can upgrade some, and then when those guys do become available, you have better pieces actually to put in a trade for a superstar like a Luka or Embiid or Giannis. Anybody else want to?
I have a question. Are we trying to improve the team and win? Or are we trying to save money? What are we trying to do?
Yeah.
I mean, a
little bit of both.
A little bit of both. You can't have both. You can't have your cake and eat it too, Jarrell. We at some point we're gonna have to spend money, right? And like Queen was saying, we're gonna have to spend money, but we don't have to wait we don't have to sit back and just wait. So do we have to wait another 5 years? What if a big fish becomes available in 5 years, right? Do we wait that 5 years, or in the meantime we get better, right? We get OG, who most people feel like is better than RJ Barrett at this point in their careers, or do we just wait 5 years? Because we wait 5 years, you know what happened, right? Julius Randle is 5 years older, Jalen Brunson's 5 years older, and so on and so forth. So those guys who are popping now, they ain't popping no more in 5 years. You know what I'm saying? So I think you should improve the team no matter what it takes. I mean, you're not gonna go crazy, like Paul George would improve the team, but not at 33 years old. He wants an extension, none of that crazy stuff, right? But if we could do something moderate, like getting OG Anunoby, I would go ahead and do it because it would greatly improve the team. And you wait for the big fish. When the big fish comes in, OG Anunoby might be more attractive than RJ Barrett or whoever else, you're getting rid of at this point.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that. The only thing that's giving me pause now is the fact that you could potentially give up, assets, players, draft capital for him, and then lose him. Or even if you don't lose him, in order not to lose him, pay him 40 million dollars and kind of, and now you hoping you can flip him, for a superstar, because that's just not going to get it. Him being the highest paid player on your team until, Brunson signs his max. Then when Julius Randle becomes a free agent, you can't max him. Now, I'm not saying you would want to, but there's no way you can pay OG 40, max out Brunson in 2 years, and then, max Randle. I just think that the CBA is shaping up in such a way that your max guys need to be max players. And I really, really like OG. I do think as time goes on, the market will correct itself. And you'll see, guys like OG and whoever. I'm not sure those guys will be making $30 and $40 million once that CBA really sets in, like say 3 years from now. I just don't think there's going to be a market, for these guys who got max contracts even 2 years ago. I don't know if they're going to be be getting the max 2 years from now. We shall see. Who do you think has the best trade value on our team right now? Like if the Knicks, who would be the headliner in a trade? And maybe you can rank the top 3 in terms of trade value on the team.
That's easy. Anybody?
Let's start with Boogie.
The best trade value on our team?
Top 3.
Well, we already know. I ain't even gonna say. He's out of the question. Right now, as far as doing something to improve the team, now,
right. We Brunson would be the top, but we ain't talking about that. I'm talking about in terms of improving the team. Yeah.
If I wanted to do something, I'm gonna use Grimes. I'm gonna use Grimes because, to me, this is why Donte's here. To push, if you can't get it done, I got somebody here that can get it done or help you get it done or whatever. That's what I think he's here to push Grimes. And they're not too far off. One's 23, the other one's 26. That's not far as age and years. And we spoke about it before. This guy might not even have played his best basketball yet, reflecting off last Thursday. What if he pops? So, I'm using Grimes, and if I'm really bringing something else in that's really going to help this team out, it might be Grimes and Mitch. Because I got Hartenstein, and I can go get. It's a lot of ball players that can do pretty much what Mitch is doing, especially if he's not going to get his game is not going to get better.
Be careful. You got that Mitch Hive in the chat.
That's okay. But I'm just speaking the facts. It's a lot of big bodies that can do what he's doing. That's looking for jobs. You know what I mean? And those are my 2. I would go Grimes, and if I'm trying to really do something, I'm using those 2.
Okay.
Queen, wait, let me understand the question. Who has more trade value, or
Yeah.
who would you trade first in order to improve the team?
No. Who do you think has the most trade value on the team? Top 3. Like who's number 1 in trade value overall? Who's number 2 in trade value? Who's number 3?
And we're not considering the top 2 guys, right? I mean, we're not considering.
Right. No. If the Knicks were to make a trade right now, who would be the top 3?
Would they get the most out of?
That we can get the most from trading. I don't think, other than Randle, other than Brunson.
Yeah. Emmanuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes, and I mean, and the rest is whatever. So, I don't even. That's it. Just those two guys.
You don't think RJ has value in a trade?
I don't think we'd get much for him.
Oh, wow.
No, I do not think we would get. Listen,
Okay.
we know. We know the backstories. We know what's been reported. You know, they try to put RJ Barrett's in trades, and the teams didn't want him, and nobody calling for RJ Barrett. You know, in the offseason, we wouldn't get much trade value. And you know what? I thought Obi we would have get good trade value for Obi. We only got 2 second-round picks for him. I don't think we would get, because RJ Barrett makes a lot more money than Obi Toppins. So between the amount of money that he makes and that what he's done this year, we wouldn't get much for him. I don't think.
Wow. Okay.
Listen, teams calls for Deuce McBride, but they didn't. Ain't nobody called for RJ. Not that we know of.
Wow. All right. Anybody else want to take a stab at it? Who do you think would headline?
I'm actually
the
going to
trade
go the
first?
opposite way from what Ajay had to say. I actually think RJ is number one. And let me tell you why. Because if you're going to be trading Grimes makes what, $2 million a year? You're not going to be able to get very much back unless you're attaching
Right.
a large salary with him. You have Quickley is about to be extension eligible. He's making what, $4 million now? Well, that $4 million is going to turn into a really expensive contract in a hurry. Some people say triple digits. I'm hoping it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 years, 80 million, but who knows what that number is going to be. I think that the DeJounte Murray extension kind of caps it a little bit because he made $120, and I don't think anybody's going to argue that Quick is a better player than Murray. But still, he's got to get paid. And so do you want to commit long-term to the guy? Are you convinced that he can run a team as a point guard? I don't know. RJ is at a nice salary figure. He dribble penetrates to the rim, which is an NBA skill that is important. His finishing isn't great, his inefficiency isn't great, either one. But if you're just talking about the centerpiece of a big trade, I don't think it's any accident that the Donovan Mitchell trade had RJ Barrett at the center of it. The proposed Paul George trade had RJ Barrett at the center of it. The proposed OG Anunoby trade has RJ Barrett at the center of it. So I think whether we like Barrett as a player or not, as far as his value as it's perceived around the league as an asset, both based upon what he is, because he's inefficient, but he's a 20-point per game scorer in the league. We know that. And what he did in the playoffs gives maybe some teams some hope that he can be more. I'm not convinced of that. I don't think he's ever going to be much more than he is right now. But that still doesn't change the fact that you got a 22-year-old, maybe 23 now, but he's a 3-year-old kid, and he's on a reasonable contract, not a great one, but a reasonable one. And he's, a former 3rd overall pick, and that shouldn't matter, but it does. And so I think you have to have Barrett there. Quickley right now is lower on my list, but once he signs his extension and the poison pill provision is over, I think Quickley rises up that ladder by maybe even over RJ at that point. I think you could get something for Robinson if you wanted to. I just don't think the Knicks want to right now, unless it's an obvious upgrade like a Joel Embiid or, Jokic would be nice. But, so I think they would be open to that, but only in that scenario. I don't think they're just going to offload Mitch unless they're real confident in the person they're bringing back is bringing them rim protection plus some of the stuff that Mitch doesn't do.
So Jeff, I want to kind of clarify a little bit. I didn't think we were talking about. I think we're looking at it from two different aspects. So my answer was based on like production, I guess.
Right, not cap, not money,
not money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and this is to say that RJ Barrett having value money wise, I understand your point, but I'm saying he's because they use him in a trade because of his salary doesn't mean he has the value in terms of his as a player that you wouldn't get talent wise. You know what I'm saying? Talent wise, that's what I was referring to. Like, who would you
take
get
money out of the equation? Take money out of the equation.
Right, exactly. If you take money out of the equation, you're comparing talent. I don't think you get much for RJ Barrett. But RJ Barrett, because of his salary, yeah, he's valuable because you got to match salary to get another player. I understand that point. I understand what you're saying. So
right.
I think we were looking at
talking about trade value, though. You can't just talk about.
I only looked at the talent, but I understand your point. I got you.
Yeah.
I mean,
If you throw in the money part, if you throw in the money part, that makes him even more valuable when you come to that because
it makes him more valuable if they want him though.
Right.
If they want him, they might also look like I'm not paying him $24 million, so it could be less valuable. It really depends on that the team and how they view him. I think Quickley from a talent perspective has more upside than RJ Barrett. But I think it would. I'm not sure if they can sign and trade him in the season. I think if they sign him, I think they have to keep him. If I'm not mistaken, but I do think IQ has much more value to headline a trade than RJ Barrett. But I do get what you're saying. He's only making $4 million or something like that. Right. Unless you're throwing in Fournier, you could do something like that, and and probably some other fillers. But yeah, it would be IQ, RJ, Grimes, or IQ, Grimes, RJ. But I get the argument about the money. It's going to be hard for those guys to headline a trade making $4 million, and Grimes might be making 2 or 3. But I do want to push back a little bit on the narrative that the Knicks will fall apart without Mitchell Robinson, and the only reason you trade him is for a superstar like Giannis, Embiid, or a Joker. Listen, 2 years ago, when Mitch only played a handful of games for I'm not sure how many seasons, we stuck Iron Hands, Brick Hand, New Orleans Noel's in there, and the Knicks made the 4th seed. This season, when Mitch was out for I'm not sure how long he was out, and Sims came in, we were over 500, and everyone in the chat was like, "Oh, Mitch is out. We about to fall apart." The Knicks kept rolling along. I'm not saying he's not valuable. I'm not saying I don't appreciate what he does for us, but what I'm saying is he is replaceable, and we've seen it 2 years ago, and we saw it this year when Sims came in and played for him. Now, did Sims do everything Mitchell Robinson did? No, but we made it. So that's all I'm trying to put out there is the Knicks made it without Mitchell Robinson. He is replaceable, and it doesn't have to be a super duper star.
Oh, absolutely. Right? If that's what I intimated, I'm sorry, that's not what I meant. I more meant that it's going to be an upgrade at that position. I don't think they're going to I don't think they're going to offload their starting center to upgrade the 3 spot, for example.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
That's more of what I meant as far as, or if you're going to look at someone like a Miles Turner, for example, who would, I think, not everybody's cup of tea, but here's a guy who can rim protect. He can do some other things. It's certainly not a star, but I think that the Knicks could talk themselves certainly into him being an upgrade. And we've had that conversation already, so I don't think we need to do it again. But that's kind of what I'm saying. Unless there's a scenario where you do have a solid replacement coming back, I don't think he's going out. Not that there's only 4 teams that I'm willing to put him in a deal for. If that's how I sounded, I apologize. I misrepresented.
Listen, no apologies. You know how we do it here. But it's not just you, Jeff. I hear that all up and down. Like, you would have to construct the roster a little different. But this idea that he's so valuable, like, you cannot be a limited offensive player. You can't. Is Mitchell Robinson? Is he even a net positive? Like, does his defense so outweigh how limited he is on offense? I just don't think so. I just don't think so.
People love Mitch, Steph, and plus a lot of people think he's not limited offensively. It's just the way our system is.
Right. Tibbs is not giving him. I know Staff about to pop on any minute.
with his in there, he's gonna pop right off.
Let me read this super chat from Paris Douglas. Second round picks are more desired now because there's no salary cap repercussions, and the players are just as good as late first round picks. Teams are saying, right, and those first round picks now have not now, but they have guaranteed salary. So give me a second round pick. You know, I'm going to trust my scouting department that I'm going to be able to find a diamond, you know, in the rough. I think they did something with the contracts of second round players so that it's a little more favorable for them, because teams was getting away with murder. I mean, we paid Mitchell Robinson like 15 years altogether. I think we paid him about $6 million. You know what I mean? Because he was a second round pick. I mean, It was really favorable for the organization. So I think they corrected some of that in the second round in this new CBA. I hear you, Coach. Try not to throw tomatoes. Same thing with Sharon. It's not about not liking him, but it's about stop thinking he's not replaceable. Stop thinking that if he doesn't play, the Knicks are going to just fall apart, because we have 2 instances in which the Knicks didn't, and one of them was super long. You know, he only played 39. And by the way, people are talking about, we don't want to sign this guy because he's so injury prone. Mitchell Robinson played 59 games last season. 59 games. So let's get off of OG Anunoby's back when we got a similar player on our roster right now. You know? All right.
Helped this team out in a whole lot. You know, when we speak about him before, man, to my understanding, if it's correct, they say that dude shot 43% in one corner, 47% in the other corner this year. And you already know he's a defensive player. And he's a good guy, you know what I'm saying? I get it and understand, you know, as far as the money situation, you don't want to bring, you know, you want to have to pay him $40 million, and then he comes over here, he's automatically making more money than anybody on their team. But sooner or later, we're going to have to figure this thing out, you know, and we need to figure it out real fast. There's too many things that we're doing that can also hinder us and hold us back from things that we can be doing. And I don't want to get caught up too much. You know what I'm saying? We're chasing certain type players. You know what I'm saying? Like that money that Donte is good. I like him on our team. That money he got, we could have did some things with that money. You know what I'm saying? We could have got us another guard. For that money, we could have got us a guard that's real quality in this game. We could have got us a power forward and a shooting big. You know, I really wanted to put Jeff Green on this team.
Me too.
Certain
I wanted
that
Jeff Green too.
We're gonna have to stop trying to cater in one way. I'm not trying to build around one guy when I'm supposed to be building around this team. This is a team, you know what I'm saying? It's on the front of our chest. And until we start understanding that, we're going to be stuck, you know what I mean? Too many things is going to hinder us and hold us from, you know, doing what we need to do when we catering. Stop catering so much. You want to cater, let them go through the Delta. They got meals and stuff in there. They got food up in there. Let them cater through that. But on this basketball court, we can't be catering to, you know what I'm saying, certain individuals and everything, even though I want to build around them, but building around doesn't mean I have to have the highest money value when I can get 2 or 3 guys that can equal up more than that one person that I'm getting. So, you know.
No doubt about it. Hit that like button.
Hit that like button. Please turn it up, man. Act like you looking for a cab or something.
Right. We got 202 and 204 in the chat. And I think we got 100 likes. That's 50%. Let's get it up to 75%. Ally wise, I knew people start when you start talking about Mitch now. Jay Boogie says something about Mitch.
I did.
Everybody let it slide. I say something about Mitch. Oh, such a big thing.
You say something about Mitch. They removed the like, right?
Yeah. It's cool when he do it. It ain't cool when you do it.
Right. How many?
They know I'm gonna get them. They know I'm gonna get them. Put you on a quick track. I'm gonna put you worldwide. No.
How many shots does Mitch get? Go ahead.
Hey, I'm gonna say I'm gonna hop off, man. Let me.
Okay.
My little one, she's still running around. Look, let me go ahead.
Appreciate you.
I love you.
Great night, bud.
Love y'all for everything that y'all constantly do. You know what I'm saying? Love everybody in the chat that you constantly do. But just more importantly, man, please do not leave yourself out of life. Go ahead and make sure you're treating yourself as the person you wake up to be each and every day. Y'all have a great morning coming up. It's coming up on a new day. Great Friday, and help you have a better weekend, man. Salute, salute, salute to the capital X to everybody.
All right, man.
Salute, bro. Have a good night, J Book.
Salute.
Yeah, definitely. But what I wanted to say too is it's not about how many shots Mitch gets. Be a threat. Be a threat. So they have to honor you. That's it. You know, be a threat. You know?
I stopped arguing about Mitch, man. That man has averaged a triple single in 5 years on the Knicks. I'm not arguing anything. It's just like Steph, what we was talking about. Like, why are we talking about players more than the minutes that they play during the game?
Mm-hmm.
We got to stop arguing about Mitch, man. They'll replace him if they think he'll be replaced, and it is what it is.
Right.
Some people love him. Some people just think he's replaceable.
Right. I think it's because of Tibbs. Tibbs love him. Like in terms of how Tibbs likes to play,
right?
Mitchell Robinson is it, despite the limitations, and I think that's you know that's what it is. And you know I'm not taking anything away. Look at the advanced stats. He's good for the Knicks. But all I'm saying is he's replaceable. That's the only thing I'm saying. People act like he's not replaceable. That's the issue I have. All right, I have one more question about DiVincenzo, and we may have talked about this Monday. I know we spent a lot of time on Obi Toppin on that show. For those who didn't get an opportunity to watch our pop-up show Monday on the Obi Toppin trade, and we talked a little bit about DiVincenzo, but we did a deep dive on Obi Toppin, like over an hour. That show is up on the audio podcast. So, you know, some people like to, digest consume their content on YouTube, the visual part of it. There's some people that's on the move and they want to just listen, and just stream it. If you want to stream it, that show and Freezy's show, the show Freezy and I did earlier today, both of those are on the Just Knickin' It podcast. So wherever you get your audio podcast, search for the Just Knickin' It show, and you'll get that. Oh, and that's a panel. The Obi Toppin was a panel show, and then Freezy and I talked today. We talked about Obi, we talked about DiVincenzo, but that Paul George conversation, was hot, and it was just really two opposite positions on Paul George. Though I think I was pretty cool about it. I mean, however the Knicks go, I'm kind of okay with it. But Freezy, man, he said that. What was the term he used about not signing Paul George?
Egregious.
It was egregious for the Knicks not to pursue the trade for Paul George. Yeah,
that trade with those guys with no way, man.
Yeah, check it out. Check it out. Oh. It was
It would have been.
How dare we not want a superstar like Paul George?
For those 3 guys and 3 first-round picks.
It wasn't even that for me. For me, it's the extension. I'm not giving him an extension. I don't care what we give the Clippers.
Right. That's where I was too.
If I'm the Knicks, I wouldn't even find out about the extension. With that offer, I'd have walked away. I wouldn't even know he wanted an extension. I'd have been like, all right, I'm good.
And Freezy, fuck you, man. Salute to Uncle Freezy, man. That's my guy.
Yeah, that's my guy. I've met some really, really good people in this community. Everybody that's here, is part of it. But Freezy behind the scenes, always encouraging when I'm starting my channel. You need to try this and try this and try that and try that. That's what got me into the audio podcasting. That was Freezy. Okay, back to DiVincenzo. A lot of people think it's the competition is between him and Grimes, and that very well may be the case. But do you think let me put it this way. The Knicks have Hart, Grimes, IQ. That's probably it, right? At that shooting guard position. Barrett.
Hart.
What is it saying about the front office that they brought in DiVincenzo? Like, what do you think their thinking was? Was like Jarrell said earlier, just insurance in case we don't sign, IQ, we can see him play for half a season and maybe move on from IQ at the deadline? Is it because I want him to battle it out with Grimes? Grimes may not be ready. He may or may not be ready. Playoff time next year. Let's get somebody in with a little more experience. What do you think they were thinking, bringing in someone that in some ways, in a lot of ways, kind of duplicate what we already have on the roster?
Yeah, I'll say what I said a little bit before. I really think it was because I don't think they plan on keeping IQ. I think they're going to trade him just like they did Obi. Because the extension is coming up, and DiVincenzo, obviously we know what he got in the contract, so he'll be a lot cheaper. And he pretty much does a little bit of the same thing. He'll be like a backup / point guard and two guard. And if they both play together with the 9-man rotation between him, IQ, Hart, and iHeart, and that's it. Like, we are a very, very small basketball team coming off the bench. So I think it's really IQ insurance, and I think they're going to move IQ. I think he's IQ replacement.
Okay, so that's what they were thinking. And you think they were? I mean, it's hard. We're guessing. No, none of us know what he was thinking, but they were thinking. Do you think they were thinking that we're going to try to move him this year? So let's get DiVincenzo in this year, or you think they're playing, chess a little bit? Let's get him in here, even if we're not able to move him this year. He's still good insurance.
Yeah, I think it was kind of perfect timing that DiVincenzo became a free agent this year, right when they're supposed to be giving IQ the extension. That's why it seemed like it's a perfect fit, and he could slide in where IQ did last year and like his whole career with the Knicks. And he'll be making like half his salary if IQ does kind of demand $100 million. Like, if you're going to pay half of what IQ is going to get, then I think he's a perfect replacement. He's a good replacement, but I do think he definitely is a replacement.
Okay. All right.
I think flexibility is the name of the game. And DiVincenzo is a flex piece, right? He can play the 1, the 2, or the 3 in a pinch. So he gives us that lineup versatility, right? And he also gives us flexibility with roster moves, right? Because now you're not going to move Hart, and you're probably not going to move DiVincenzo because you just signed him. So that gives you the capability to move Quickley, Grimes, or Barrett in any combination and still feel really good about what you have left over. So I think it's a cake and eat it too kind of a situation. I think they looked at it, and I think there was a calculus involved, and part of it was, look, Obi Toppin played the 4, but he's not a really good rebounder anyway. We've got Josh Hart, who's an outstanding rebounder. We can stick him at the 4 a little bit and bring in a guy who can sit in the corners and is really productive and consistent from there, which Obi wasn't. He had his moments, but he shot 34.5% from three last year. Well, now the guy sitting in the corners is up to 36 at a minimum for his career, and he shot 39% last year. And I think his corner numbers, I'd have to look him up again, but I think his corner numbers are even better than that. I think he shot over 40 from the corners. And so when you look at all that, you say, this is an opportunity for us to improve the product in the short term, even if it makes us a little bit small. We're okay with that. It gives us the roster flexibility. If a trade presents itself where we need to make a 2-for-1 and Barrett and Quickley need to go out the door, it allows us to do that. And at the same time, I think it improves the team to just a little bit, not a massive step forward. No one's going to say he's the championship piece or anything like that, but he brings experience, he brings smarts, he brings swagger, and those are all important things for teams that are looking to win, and when you have a player like Grimes, who, let's be honest, we love Grimes, and their stats were similar last year. Grimes played a few more minutes, DiVincenzo was better with, to use Ron's word, with the ancillary stats, but they're pretty much the same as far as their 3-point shooting is concerned. And so you have a guy that you can plug and play if Grimes is struggling. Okay, we can give DDV the ball and say, go help us win games.
Right. Yeah, I think it was that's a good point. They did it for the flexibility. If something was to come up, initially I thought they had something in the works, and they did it because of that. But maybe it's just for ongoing flexibility. Wow. Mansa, Deshaun, NYK, I'd only move Grimes for a star. Ooh, got a lot of hives in here, man. The Grimes hive right there. Wow. Shout out to Paris Duggar. Brunson leaves in 2 years if we pay the wrong guys. Yeah, that's that's a good point. And Julu Caesar, I hope I said that right. We don't talk about this enough. I love to see IQ getting that starting 2 spot next to JB. I think we might have talked about it once, but what this brings up for me, I don't think the Knicks value IQ a lot. I'm not saying that they don't like him. I don't know if they definitely don't value him like they value Mitch. You already saw, the Knicks are not looking to move, Mitchell Robinson. When they went out and signed Jalen Brunson, I think that kind of told you that they don't see IQ as a point guard. Even before they signed Brunson, they started Burks over IQ. I don't think they see him as a point guard. Now, he's up for an extension. They haven't extended him. Now they bring in DiVincenzo to that could possibly, lessen his minutes. And maybe that's a leverage move as well in negotiations. Like we already got somebody here already on the bench. We don't got to give you $100 million. We got your replacement right here. I just don't think I'm not saying they don't like him. I just don't think they value him like that. They never considered him as the starting shooting guard. He has a long wingspan. He is kind of slight. They never considered him for that. Grimes could barely get over his ankle injury, foot injury, or whatever it was, and he is bam in the starting lineup. He could only play like 3 minutes before he got hurt again. You know what I mean? He put him right in the starting lineup. I just don't think they don't see him as a point guard. They don't see him as a starting 2 guard, right? So he's a bench. They see him as a bench player. And how much are they willing to pay a bench player? Because they had every opportunity to play him at the point guard. They had every opportunity to start him next to Brunson. They chose not to do it. I just don't think they value him like that. I just don't think when you're looking at the money and how you allocate your money, how much do you want to pay for a 6-man?
So
they didn't start those two together often, but they finished with Quick and Brunson on the floor together quite a bit, did they not?
They did, but why not start him?
I mean, maybe they just feel like he's better coming off the bench to lead that second unit that doesn't really have a point guard. I mean, I don't know. It's a great question, but I just think that they're just comfortable with him in that role. And you know what? When Brunson was hurt this year, IQ came in and started and played pretty well. I mean, and like I said, I feel like they closed together in lineups quite a bit. And I've always said, I don't care who starts. It's who finishes that matters. And if Quickley and Brunson are on the floor together at the end of games, that speaks volumes, in my opinion, of how much Thibodeau at least values what Quick brings, especially on the defensive end.
Right. But how much money you putting into someone who comes off the bench, even if they do finish for you?
That's a tricky question.
I was going to ask you, Jeff, does that mean, I'm sorry, AJ, does that mean you think they should get rid of Grimes more than Quickley? Like if you had a choice because of that?
See, that's so hard because they love Grimes too.
Because it seemed like you would have to choose between one of them.
I agree with you. And if they have to choose between the two of them, I think Quickley's the one who goes.
Okay.
And part of the reason is you have Grimes under cost control for a year longer. Right? Because you don't have to make the extension decision on Grimes until next off season. So you can kick that can down the road a little bit further than you can with Quickley.
And Knicks are nice, CAA affiliate. Jay Hart getting $20 million off the bench. That's not something I would have. Well, he's not getting that. He's getting 12.9. But reports are that they're going to extend him when they can in a few months or something like that when he's eligible. And reports are that he'll get $20 million. I'm not for that either.
Yeah, man.
And I really like Josh Hart, but I'm not for that either. And if they do that, that tells me something else about Quickley. You know, you can't give Josh Hart 20 and IQ 20. So if you're giving Josh Hart 20, that, to me, that's letting me know that Quick is just on his way.
Right.
Is just on his way out. I mean, I just don't. I don't understand that 20 million to Hart if those reports are true. I don't get it, and it's true. I would pay IQ 20 before Hart, but if they do that, I mean,
well, I think the max that they can extend Hart for is 140%.
mm-hmm.
So I'm not a math wizard. So somebody in the chat with a calculator help me out. What is the 12? We'll call it 13 times 14, whatever that is. That's the most that they can pay him, as far as I understand, for the CBA, at least year one.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd pay either one of them.
No, 140% of what he's making now. You're saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's almost 2.5 times his salary.
Okay.
So no, they're not going to pay him that much. That would be insane.
I think the max they can pay him is 80 or 84 million, something like that. Shout out to Paris Duggar. The shows are ignoring how much Brunson influences.
Which Brunson? Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Jalen Brunson does have influence, as he should, being the team's best player at the time.
No doubt.
So
let me just read this real quick. Justo 11. Do you guys think IQ and or Grimes take that next step in their games next season? I believe they do, and the 76ers struggle, then make the call. I do. I think both of them. I think IQ takes another step next season, and I would put money on him being really good in the playoffs. And I think Grimes take the next step. The thing that gets me with Grimes is, and I don't know if this changes, guys that's hesitant to pull the trigger. You know, can you change that? You know, is this just he's young, he's really just trying to fit in, he has it in him, or is it just you always have to be coaxing him? Take your shot, be aggressive, You know, we'll see. But I expect Grimes to be better also. And lastly, Trav B. Ryan, appreciate you, my brother. I think if they don't make any more moves, Quickley will start, and Grimes will come off the bench with Donte and Hart.
I don't think
Okay.
so. I think they would start Donte DiVincenzo before they start Emmanuel Quickley. Tom Thibodeau would do that. So, Queen, I was gonna say,
Yes.
so if you don't think the Knicks value Emmanuel Quickley that much, right? Is it fair to say that myth amongst Knicks fans that this front office is great at drafting young talent? Can we kill that now? Because if they don't value IQ, then what great draft pick have they made?
I mean, you can. I think even if they trade IQ, I still think he was a good draft pick.
Oh, well, if they don't value him that much,
You know, I still think he was a good draft pick. I just think
we
Brunson is better.
think so. As fans, we think Obi was a great draft pick, but you know,
I think it depends what the compensation is we get back for him, whether he's a good draft pick or not.
if we get 2 second-round picks, man, listen.
It's a little different between IQ and Obi though, because Obi was an 8th overall pick. So I mean, he's top 10. So yeah, when it comes to talent acquisition and investment, the returns on investment, yeah, that was a bad trade, or a bad pick, I should say. But IQ was in the 20s, so it might be a little different. Depends on what we get from him.
IQ's also a former second in the 6th man of the year voting, and some team I can envision him starting for them, and so multiple teams I would say could envision him starting for them. So I think from those two aspects, your price point would be higher.
But you guys don't see the problem with that. He came in second and run for 6th man of the year. Other teams might see him as starting point guard, but we don't value him that much. Maybe we don't value him. I mean, something's wrong with this. I don't know what it is.
It's a numbers game. Sometimes it's just a numbers game. I mean, they didn't value him at point guard. I'll tell you that, because they brought in Brunson. I'm not. Maybe they don't value him. Maybe that's a bit heavy.
That Burks at point guard still hurt me, by the way. Just so
That's when I knew they didn't value him as a point guard.
Right.
That's still painful.
They don't see. I know, IJ. You really hold on to things, man.
Yeah, I do.
He's going on year 3, bro. You gotta let that go.
Right. Shout out to Justo11. I appreciate your second super chat. Thank you. Appreciate you supporting the channel. What's your opinion on the Clippers trade rumor package that we had of RJ, Evan, IQ, and 3 firsts for PG plus extension? Think we missed it or saved ourselves? Yeah, we talked about this earlier in the show. I think we saved ourselves.
Right.
It's particularly with that particular package. I think
it's the extension. Like to give them all that, and we got to extend Paul George, was going to be like, if we do give him an extension, by the end of it, he'll be like 36, 37 years old. No way.
Jarrell, before the extension, this right here on the screen was crazy. Before the extension, just this.
Right.
It's a good thing they didn't do it.
Right. You don't play enough games. It's not about talent, because talent-wise, he's the perfect fit. It's about games and availability.
He plays 50 games, and our luck, it'd be the first 50 games of the season, and then he's not available in the playoffs.
Right.
I will say this, and Freezy brought this up. If you look at any of the small forwards, the injury is there.
Yeah,
my preference is to be young and injury prone.
Right. Give me Brandon Ingram.
Right. Because all of those guys you're looking at, Kawhi, Paul George, OG, Brandon Ingram, whoever you're looking at, these guys aren't playing 82 games. Nobody is. What is the? Can somebody put in what's the average games played in the NBA this season? I don't know if they have that stat, but I'm curious. What's the average games played? It's definitely not 82. I would say it's probably like 68.
That would be. I would guess for starters like high 60s, low 70s.
Yeah, between 68 and 70, 72. It's like you're not going to get these 82 game play.
Only Mikal Bridges pretty much does that every year.
Right. And I heart. Listen, shout out to Reggie Clark, aka Heavy C. He said PG would sneeze wrong and be out 6 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
No, we don't want that, man. Come on, man.
Maybe you're right, Keith Turner. Maybe you're right. I just think there was multiple opportunities to kind of expand his role. I mean, I think one of the things they did do to help him, that does show that they value him, is going to that 9-man rotation, because going to that 9-man rotation made it possible for him to get close to 30 minutes. And I know, there's many in the chat and the fan base that want to go back to a 10-man rotation, but that means less minutes because you're sharing minutes at every position.
Right. That's why, to me, the DiVincenzo signing doesn't really make any sense if IQ stays here. Or Grimes. Like, one of them seems like they will have to go because their extensions are coming up. IQ this year, Grimes next year, and DiVincenzo can pretty much give you the same production, give or take. They're kind of pretty much the same, makeup of a player, and he's only getting paid $50 million. So I don't see the DiVincenzo move making sense if our roster stays the same as it is now.
Right. Yeah, Paris Duggar, listen, the 9-man rotation kills Randle and Brunson. I don't think so. Those guys are going to play. Even if we go to a 10-man rotation, it's not going to change Randle and Brunson's minutes. Whoever's playing behind Randle or playing behind Brunson, that's not going to change. So it just allows those other guys to get more minutes. But do you think if we go to a 10-man, whoever's backing up Randle's going to get less minutes? Or whoever's backing up Brunson is going to get less minutes? That's not happening. So 9 or 10 is not going to impact Randle and Brunson's,
I'll be shocked if they go to a 10-man. Shocked.
Yeah. So I don't think that I don't think that happens. And there was something else I wanted to to say about the rotation. Oh, people are complaining, about people not getting minutes. You go to that 10-man rotation, and now Quickley is playing 20 minutes. Oh, all the advanced stats say that we're a better team when IQ is on the floor. When we go into a 10-man rotation, that means the minutes have to be cut down because you're playing more. Right. Yeah. Queen, you broadcasted from the deck of the Black Pearl.
Yeah, it sound like it's wind or something.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh, yeah, that's just a fan.
A little bit.
All right. Is that better? I was about to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's cool.
Yeah. Paris Doug, I hear you. Randle plays bad, but again, the 10-man rotation is not helping Randle. It's not helping Randle. Whoever's backing up Randle is not getting more than whatever minutes. So it's not helping Randle, and basically it's hurting IQ. Or one of the guards is not going to get enough a lot of minutes. Yeah, smash the like. We got 189 watching. Oh, you got 125 likes. I appreciate
Oh,
you.
nice,
Oh yeah.
nice,
Oh yeah.
nice,
Yeah,
nice,
Yeah.
nice.
smash that like button. I would add Sims as the 10. Okay. How does that help Randall though? Okay, he's gonna get 4 minutes, and then Randall's minutes are not going down. If you're sitting here waiting for Randall to play 30 minutes, yeah, okay.
I think if Sims is the 10th player, that means somebody like iHeart. I mean, either iHeart or Josh Hart minutes will go down, not Randall's.
Randall's minutes is not going down. What's
Right.
so he's averaging? Can somebody look up how many minutes he averages? What, 35 minutes a game?
Yeah, it's in the-
34, 35 minutes a game.
Yeah,
What do you think is going to go down to 32? It's just not going to happen.
And plus, his inavailability, so his injury had nothing to do with his minutes played. It
No.
was actually, he got injured during a play while playing.
The
So
Miami ankle hunters.
yeah, well,
Right.
And Randall should be playing more than 30 minutes a game. He's an NFL star. I mean, he's an NBA starter.
So I think when somebody brought it up, I don't know if it was on this panel, there's ways you can rest him. Maybe, cutting up when he's rested,
Yeah,
so that he's fresher in that he's fresher in that fourth quarter. Mitchell Robinson has not even played 30 minutes in his entire career, and it needs to drop, 4 more minutes. I appreciate you, Paris Duggar. Shout out to Boulevard 73. Appreciate the super chat. Appreciate you rocking with us. Hit that like button, y'all. Hit the like button. It definitely helps the channel. I put the link to the audio podcast. It's linked to the top of the description. Download the audio podcast. You don't even need to listen to it, but download it.
no, Queen, but it's good stuff.
You need to
It is
listen
good
to it.
stuff.
You and
It's good
Crazy
stuff.
was
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah, I thought the show with Freezy and I today was fire, and I also thought the panel show. This was the first time I uploaded the panel show that we did on Monday, so that's there too. So once you go to the page, you can listen to all of them, But I thought that show with you guys making your appearance on the audio podcast, I thought that show was fire as well, and I was able to just cut out the Obi, the Obi part of it. It's a fire panel. This is a fire panel. HP Carlos, much love for Portugal. I appreciate you. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We got Knick fans all over the world. No doubt. All right, that's all I have for tonight. Anybody in the chat, anybody on the panel have questions you want to ask or anything you want to cover?
Nah, Summer League tomorrow night, right?
Saturday. Is it? I think it's Saturday.
Okay.
We play Saturday. We play Sunday.
Okay.
Saturday and Sunday. And I think Saturday we play Philly, the 76ers Summer League team, if I'm not.
And the Nets on Sunday, something like that. Let me see.
Yes.
Okay.
So Saturday we get to see how much Trevor Kills has actually grown, right?
Yeah. So who are you looking forward to playing? I'm watching. For me, is Roby and Kills. Anybody else?
Jalen Martin for me.
Jalen Martin. Okay.
For me, it's Jalen Martin. I've already know what Isaiah Roby can do, and I want to see Kills too. I've said a lot of words about Trevor Kills on this show, but I'm still looking forward to seeing what he can do. Hopefully he'll be better, and hopefully he'll be 6'9" like everybody say he is too.
Listen, if Trevor Kills he's already slimmed down, unless that was a Photoshop. He looked like he slimmed down a lot. That's what I want to see. Even if he hasn't grown some, if he's slimmed down, yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. All right. Shout out to Justo 11. You think Bojan from Detroit could make us top dominant? What guy would y'all want right now, like a dream trade? Dream trade, where we're not talking about salary cap ramifications or whatever, for me would be Brandon Ingram. That would be my dream trade.
Yeah, I would like Brandon Ingram too.
This guy in Milwaukee, if we're just talking about
Oh
dreams.
yeah.
You talk about to the moon. Okay.
right.
Okay. You talk
I'm
about
thinking
those.
reasonable, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Giannis. Yeah, no doubt about
We're
it.
going to dream. We should dream big, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Right.
Devin Booker.
Devin Booker.
I like that choice.
Devin Booker is up there too.
Yeah.
but they will all be great.
Yeah. Bojan from Detroit, wasn't he traded or he's still there?
I think he's still there. I don't think
He's
they
still
want to
there.
get rid of him.
Yeah. A lot of people want Ingram.
I definitely want Brandon Ingram. I take Troy Murphy too. They got two wings over there I like. And they just
Yes,
Herb
sir.
Jones. So they got 3 wings that we can use on this team.
They got 3 wings. We got no wing.
No, wingless.
Yeah.
But
no
I
doubt about it.
I wouldn't mind Brendan Ingram coming in a trade with Jose Alvarado because we need a good backup point guard.
So you just don't want to take their best player. You want them to add stuff to the best player.
Yeah, give me a little something more, man. We need a backup. We need a backup for Jalen Brunson.
AJ crazy, man. He was like, yeah, I want Brandon Ingram and somebody else.
Yeah,
Right.
Give me a little something more, man.
Yeah, for McBride,
And
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
No, and the chiseled up Trevor Keels. He chiseled up and taller Trevor Keels.
And maybe we'll throw in one of our second round picks.
Maybe.
Right. We might haggle over that. We're gonna have to sleep on that.
We hold on to those tight.
Right. Listen, listen. Please don't talk to me about somebody who's played 114 games in 19 seasons. Like I just can't. I can't. You taking a huge risk. This you talk about boom or bust. You talk about boom or bust. If he turns it around and he doesn't get injured anymore for his career, wow, then you pulled off something. But if he plays another 6 games for the next 10 years and he's sitting on your salary cap,
plus I don't want Zion in New York, man. I don't want him.
Ingram, 100%. Shout out to you, Boulevard 73. And he's injury proof. If you read his injury, oh my God. Yeah, that doesn't look good either. I think it's worse than OG.
Yeah.
I think it's worse than OG.
It is.
I'd rather pay Ingram than OG though. Just
because of the upside. The upside. Upside. I wonder if OG has another level. I mean, he's played in a offense with other guys who share the ball with Pascal gets Van Vliet. Who else? The shooting guard, Gary Trent. Yeah. I wonder with a little more usage, how he would be. But I already know, as far as Ingram is concerned,
buckets.
Yeah, no doubt. Shout out to Trav B. Ryan, another super chat. Appreciate you, brother. Really, really cool dude. Keep your eye on Jaren Jackson Jr. His pops works for us.
Yeah,
really. I didn't know that. And he's playing with Brunson and Hart in the World Cup.
Yep. He's somebody coming off a big injury too, though. But he's definitely a good player.
Where does he work for? Westchester?
I don't know, but he does though work for us in some capacity. I just don't know what.
Right. Ricardo Queen, how come nobody ever speaks about Pelican center? He's really good.
I like him too.
Valanciunas. Yeah. Defensively though, I'm not familiar with him defensively.
Okay.
He's okay.
He averaged double-digit rebounds, but like if you're gonna say like if he be an upgrade from Mitch defensively, then no. Okay. Mitch is definitely a better defensive player, but if you're talking about net positive and what they bring to the team, Valanciunas is a better center than Mitchell Robinson at this point.
Easy, Jarrell.
I'm sorry.
Catch tomatoes before we.
You're right. Yeah, it's after midnight too. No more tomatoes after midnight.
Right. Bobo. Listen, yeah, we got $4 million. Will he take the $4 million?
I like that too.
I like Bobo, and he would play the 3. He's not a. I mean, I guess he could play power forward, like a
He
stretch
played a
4.
4. Yeah.
But I seen his ball skills. Bringing the ball, bringing the ball down the court, what have you. So yeah, I'm okay with Bobo. There's something that happened where he fell out of favor because he came out gangbusters and he was starting for a good part of that season, and then the next thing you know, he was coming off the bench and not really in the rotation.
Yeah, but only thing though, I could see us getting Bobo and being excited, and Tibbs not playing him either.
Yeah,
I could see that.
Yeah,
I don't think Tibbs will play him, so I don't know why y'all even talk about Bobo.
But I do like him as a player personally.
Yeah,
I would definitely want that.
Yeah. Fabian Williams said Jaren Jackson Sr. doesn't work for the Knicks anymore.
He doesn't. Okay.
Knicks are nice. Yeah, he makes $4 million now.
Who, Bobo?
Yeah.
I don't think they're going up against the luxury tax that close for Bobo.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Yeah. Is Wiggins available? Yeah. I like Wiggins. If you're not looking for him to be a go-to player, if you're looking for him to just hit the open 3, play really, good defense, I like him like that. He's not a Brandon Ingram in terms where he's gonna come in and be your second best player. And I think Brandon Ingram might even have best player upside,
Man, listen, who started Queen with this Brandon Ingram stuff, man?
He's good though,
I know. Listen, I love it. Yeah, but we can go another hour. We start talking about Brandon with Queen, man.
Listen, and I saw him in the playoffs 2 years ago. Not this season, the last season. I always like guys who step it up in the playoffs. I do. But yeah, that's all I got. I guess we can we can get out of here. Any last words?
Thank you to the chat. Thank you to the panel. You're the greatest as always, Steph. We appreciate getting to hang out with you on a Thursday night.
So it's always a pleasure.
Yeah,
and I'm glad we didn't do this Paul George nonsense. But yeah.
Well, not yet. It's not over.
No, it's over.
The party's not over.
It's over.
It's only July. We're gonna hear about the Paul George stuff up until the trade deadline.
The front office be crazy to go with that package, but I know they.
I don't think. Yeah. But even if it's not that package,
I don't mind bringing him in, but like you said, it's the package and definitely the extension. The extension that has to be out for me.
Yeah.
But it's not because of talent. Paul George fits perfectly with this team.
Yeah,
he would be 4 years, say 4 years ago. What you want?
Wouldn't be available.
We would be like an expansion team. You can't have these players over here. You can pick. We'll protect a few of the players, but anything else you want or any combination of it, you can have it. Paris said he would do Paul George for RJ Fournier and 1 pick.
I would do that. I would do.
And no extension.
And no extension.
I would definitely do that.
But this is who is this? Was this you, Jeff? We was talking prior to the show. He has a player option, so you give that up. You don't extend him. He opts out.
Right. So you got 1 year.
So you gave up RJ and a pick for 1 year.
Just this year.
Wait, stop. He ain't out there now. Where he going? He always hurt. Then nobody gonna pick him up for the money. Trust me, he gonna stay right here, man. He ain't going nowhere.
I don't know.
I don't.
If you don't give him an extension and he wants one, he very well could opt out.
Because you can, at that age, you may opt out of a 40-something million, like Middleton did, for less money and more years. Yep. I don't know. Somebody in the chat said he ain't opting out of 47 million.
That's the opt-in number.
We get rid of Fournier. Yeah, I would do it.
What's the number? What's the opt-in?
It's
number?
somewhere in the 40s.
Hold on, let me look that up.
It is somewhere in the 40s. Yeah. Almighty Finesse said RJ IQ. Oh, and 3 picks for OG.
Oh, his player, Paul George player option is 48.7.
So that's 49 million.
Pretty much. So nah, he not opting out of that. I don't think so. He would have to. He'd be kind of crazy to opt out of that if we're not giving.
So they want the Knicks to pick that up and then give him an extension.
Yes.
Well, the Knicks wouldn't be able to give him an extension this year, right? You have to be. No, they can, right? You can.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait. You can extend him. You don't have to wait till next year to extend him.
Right. You can extend him. 47
I
million.
want to be paying him when he's
games.
37. That's Maury Stoudemire 2.0.
Yeah, I just think, I mean, one thing just for us to. All right, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but if we don't make any other moves, it can go either way, in terms of us moving up or maybe even moving down a little, depending on the chemistry, right? Every year is different. So we'll see. We didn't make any major moves. We brought in DiVincenzo. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping that the chemistry and the defense is what gets us over the top, and plus some teams getting weaker in the Eastern, in the Eastern Conference.
I think we make a trade. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Before the season starts.
Right. Anyway, we'll be back Tuesday. I'm going to try the Tuesday shows. I'm really trying to do an hour and a half. I thought that Monday show was only an hour and a half, and it was a good show, I thought. And we were able to talk about a topic or two and give it like really good and do it justice, So I do think you can get in a 90-minute show if it's just one topic, maybe 2 topics. Not what we do here on the weekly show. We talk about everything. So I probably will be back Tuesday. If I can keep it to an hour and a half, that works with my schedule. I can't do 2 3-hour shows like this a week. I just can't do it. But if I could keep it to 60 to 90 minutes, then that would be awesome.
Okay.
That would be awesome, actually. All right. Everybody said their last words.
Yep.
All right. Shout out
to the chat. You'll hit the like button on the way out. Those of you who.
Yeah, and if you're listening and you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Hit that notification button. Sometimes we'll do pop-up shows. Ajay, text me Monday. You going on? Yeah, come on, let's go on. So there'll be pop-up.
Ajay, you muted,
shows.
bro. Ajay, you muted.
You muted. You muted. Yeah.
Sorry, I stepped
That's okay.
They moved it. Yes, and remember to share this on your social media platforms with everybody else, man. Get more people in here. Get more people in here, man. We need we need the Knicks family to grow even larger than it already is. So
yeah, no doubt about it. Until next time, family.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Dope Soul.
Where you at?